I want to say it's, I'm going to grab it. Romans chapter 9 and verse 13. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. So the Most High has had a perpetual hatred on a particular nation of people for the things that they had done to the nation of Israel. Esau being Romans that particular nation. You can go into history and see that as it is Esau or the Edomites are also known as the Idumeans are Caucasian people. So our understanding, what the Bible essentially says, is that Esau is going to go into captivity just like the other nations, because they all had, of course, Israel in captivity, but Esau specifically for their evil and for their wickedness will be cut off as a people after a certain amount of time forever.
Okay, interesting. So
Respect.
See, and they said the same thing. I'm like, okay, you know, there's a couple camps that that paid attention to the genealogy and know that it's not the same.
Mm-hmm.
Like I came across Captain Cesariak, ISBK, the captain of them. He made a big error, and he said they were both Josephs.
Mm-hmm. There's many people that have said, you know, that specifically.
Yeah. So then, but the problem is that it's impossible. You know, anybody who know about genealogies, know about genes, ancestry, all that type of stuff, you know, you can't have two different genealogies from the same father. You know, so I would love to talk to him, which I did talk to one of his flunkies, and you know, it's crazy. I gotta say flunky because they come disrespectful, aggressive. You know, I'm like, God damn, dude, we didn't even exchange a word. You already aggressive and like trying to establish authority.
Yeah.
So when I go ahead. So when I pointed that out to him, he was confused and kind of lost at first, and but he seemed to get it, and he got humbled really fast. Like, okay, wow, this doesn't make sense. You know, it just been a good look for him. Like the dude from the door was very combative.
Yeah. That's majority of them brothers, unfortunately.
So I could say I watched different camps, different teachings.
Really quickly, I'm about to I'm about to get onto the same Zoom call. I'm just pulling it up from my computer, so okay. You're about to see me request the access for that.
All right.
And there we go.
So I'm actually planning on calling in. Like my voice is just better. My voice was terrible yesterday, and it was worse the day before, and even worse the day before that. I just beat a cold. So but I am going to plan it. I am planning on calling in Cross the Line Radio with the captain from ISBK. You know, I don't expect much from the call, but I just feel like I just need to do it. Just, you know, see where it goes. You know, sometimes you can surprise yourself. And I want to talk about different things, different aspects of their doctrine, because I find some things interesting.
Right.
And so you guys, so what are your thoughts on the Gentiles and their role in this whole thing? And when I say Gentiles, I'm exclusively speaking to white folks.
Give me a second. I can hear you through my phone. I don't
you gotta mute one of your you gotta mute one of your, actually not even mute, you gotta disconnect one of your audios, and then you won't get the echo anymore. Yeah, so all you gotta do is just okay, Darash, right? Yeah, I got it right. Yeah, so you gotta yeah, there you
go. I'm not getting a sound through here.
So what you gotta do is that both of your devices has an audio. And when you have two devices, you cannot select audio for both. One got to have audio, and the other one got to be like disconnected. Not even on mute is going to echo. So you'll have the option to disconnect audio. That's what you got to do.
Okay, I can hear you like that. Let me see if I can get the sound through the headphones. All right, there we go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you good.
Okay, perfect. Okay, perfect. All right. So I'm sorry. Go ahead and ask the question again.
Yeah, so I was just saying, wait, I'm trying to think what I said last because I was trying to
Something about you said something about the Gentiles.
Oh yeah. So what is your doctrine, official position on white people and their role in the Bible?
Our official doctrine on white people in the Bible is two things. One, you see it in the book of Obadiah. We hold to Esau being the white man. And we see all throughout the scriptures what the Most High says about Esau, first and foremost, just like every other nation that's had Israel in captivity. They're going to go into captivity for a time, and as written in, I'm gonna grab two scriptures so we can actually touch on the scriptures and see what they say. Revelations chapter 13 and 10, it says, "He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword." Here's the patience and the faith of the saints. So we see every nation has had Israel in captivity, and we see through the scriptures that the Most High is going to recompense them for that. But there's a specific nation, specific group of people that the Most High said that he's going to cut off forever for their overt indulgence of wickedness. Let me grab the scripture really quickly.
Now he just made that up.
Obadiah verse, excuse me, that's Hosea. Obadiah verse.
Okay, so this is the epitome of cherry picking. Okay, so he's going to go to the book of Obadiah. I'll go to the book of Zephaniah and watch this. I mean, this is just cherry picking. Look at, listen to this. It's just cherry picking.
Obadiah verse. I want to read verse 10, and then I'm going to drop down to verse 18. Obadiah verse 10, it says, "For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever." Then when you drop down to verse 18, it says, "And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the..."
I can show you the same thing with Israel. He said Israel should be cut off forever. Like, it's just cherry picking at its best, man.
"House of Joseph of flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord hath spoken it." You also see in Romans.
Okay, we know that's false, especially by their doctrine, because they call the white man Esau today. So we know that was false.
chapter 9, and I want to say I'm going to grab it. Romans chapter 9 and verse 13. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. So the Most High has had a perpetual hatred on a particular nation of people for the things that they had done to the nation of Israel, Esau being that particular nation. You can go into history and see that Esau, or the Edomites, are also known as the Idumeans, are Caucasian people. So our understanding what the Bible essentially says.
The Idumean thing is also false. Okay, so what they did was they looked up red. When Esau was called red, they looked up that, and that's Adame, something like that. And then they found a word later that said Adume, and they literally made that meant red. Like they went off hearsay, like, oh, that sounds the same. It sounds similar, so it must be the same. And that's literally what they did. But this is all like just BS right here that he's saying.
Is that Esau is going to go into captivity just like the other nations, because they all had, of course, Israel in captivity, but Esau specifically for their evil and for their wicked.
And what I read is going to say the opposite. So they got this hatred for Kemet and this hatred for the Esau, but you'll see that the Lord doesn't share that same hatred. The Lord hate other nations more than Esau and Kemet. Matter of fact, the Lord gives Kemet and Esau a break, but he doesn't give other nations a break. So that's why this is very interesting. But they can only pull this off on people who don't, are not a believer in the Bible or read it.
This will be cut off as a people after a certain amount of time forever.
Okay, interesting. So now what comes to mind right away, I'm sure you heard it before. Then what about, like, how would that relate to the scripture, don't abhor an Edomite or some Esau, something like that, or your brother? Yes, I know it's something like that I read.
Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy.
And it's funny because I read Deuteronomy today from 1 all the way to chapter 23. So this is very interesting. So that's why I'm playing this. This is at this time I didn't. Again, this is how long ago this is. I was just stuck on the verse. This is a month ago. I didn't come on. But in 2 months, 3 months, I probably read more in these months than they read in their entire experience in these camps.
Deuteronomy chapter.
What are you doing over here? Give me that.
You can still hear me, right?
Yeah, here you go.
Okay. Deuteronomy chapter 23. Let's get that scripture. Deuteronomy 23 and verse 7. It says, thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, for he is thy brother. Excuse me. Thou shalt not abhor an Egyptian, because thou wast a stranger in his land. The children that are begotten of them shall enter into the congregation of the Lord in their third generation. When thou goest.
So you're gonna read past that? So that's the thing. It says that, I mean, how does he perpetually hate Esau when he said their children at the third generation can then congregate with Israel? But he said other nations can. If he read verses right before that, there's other people that the Lord said can never, ever, ever congregate with Israel. Okay, so he just glossed right over that, and he probably it probably hit his attention at this point, but he's gonna gloss right over it.
Because thou wast a stranger. It says, thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, for he is thy brother. Excuse me. Thou shalt not abhor an Egyptian, because thou wast a stranger in his land. The children that are begotten of them shall enter into the congregation of the Lord in their third generation. When thou goest, when the host goeth forth against thine enemies, then keep thee from every wicked thing. Okay, I just need a 7 and 8. So first and foremost, this is a law that references when we are in our land. And second off, I didn't say anything about hating an Edomite. You also have to remember in the book of Romans, chapter, I want to say it's 12. Romans chapter 12 and verse.
Do you know what's interesting? That they called the Romans Edomites. I mean, I don't know what commentary, what scholar, what average Bible reader can ever draw that conclusion. Like, they literally just made up a doctrine and they connected dots. And you know what happens when you connect dots and you're not an expert. Okay. You make a big mess. Okay. So, but he's indoctrinated. Like, this is not something like I'm reading for myself. And like you heard me in real time with Demetrius, True Meech, and LJ yesterday. In real time, go over scriptures, and you're seeing like a little family fight where we differ on certain things, agree, so we're learning in real time. Certain things that we hold on to, you know what? All right, let me drop that. You dig? It hurts. It's never fun when you think you got something and it makes sense to you and somebody say, nah, that's BS. Like, that's never fun. Even if they're like your peoples, that's still not fun. It's like, damn, man, I thought I was smart. So this brother right here is sincere, right? I like him. He's a cool guy. Matter of fact, a lot of these young brothers I like that I talk to. It's just that they're being indoctrinated by older people, and that's sad. No, you're not getting episodes tonight, do you? You got your dinner here. You gotta eat your food. No episodes tonight. Yeah, this ain't no. That's a single woman might do that. So you just do all these snacks and stuff. No, you eat over here. Yeah, we don't do the big nigger woman drink. Or the Dunkin' Donuts gets a big drink with all type of whipped cream. I'm like, God damn, it's like, you could drink that? Like, sheesh. Chocolate syrup everywhere. Then you wonder why you're 250 pounds. Like, yeah, you just drunk a shake that a lineman for the Buffalo Bills be drinking. Like, he's trying to keep his weight on so he can keep blocking.
17, it says, recompense no man for evil. 18, if it be possible, as much as lieth in you, live peaceable with all men. So what I'm referencing is specifically what was written in the Bible. It has nothing to do with how I personally feel. The scriptures tell us to live peaceable with all men. But at the end of the day, when you read through the prophecy and when you read through even areas of the New Testament, such as Romans chapter 9, it talks about how the Most High feels about Esau. If the Most High hates them, that the Most High hates them,
Right.
So it has nothing to do with the commandment that he gave us, because at the end of the day, remember, the scriptures talk about vengeance is the Most High. I think you read that in verse 19 of Romans 12. So whether I hate.
Yeah, all right, so let's go over these cherry pick verses. All right. So he said Deuteronomy 23. So let's I mean go there. Okay, so let's go to Deuteronomy. Let me what do you say? Do not have. Oh shit, I spelled that totally wrong. Damn, it don't let you just keep it there. Okay, damn, about to say. Oh, really? so I can't fix this. I'm about to say, I'm about to say. Oh my God. God damn. All right, cool. Let me just go there. 23. Okay. here we are right here. It says, thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, for he is thy brother. Uh-huh. I mean, how do we read right past that? Don't abhor him, he's your brother. But these guys, Esau, it says, thou shalt not abhor an Egyptian, because you was a stranger in his land. Okay, it says, the children that are begotten of them shall enter in the congregation of the Lord in the third generation. Like, how do you skip that? Like the next, let me see if I can invite Hebrew illiterate on the channel real quick. You dig? Like, these guys come to me, they be desperate as hell. Like, yo, can we talk? I'm dodging them. Like, nah, bro, I'm just chilling right now. I ain't trying to commit to a 2-hour, 3-hour long discussion. I ain't trying to commit to a 2-3 hour long discussion, my boy. Not today, at least. Okay. What am I doing? Okay. So now watch this. This is verse 7. Look at verse this. This is why I say cherry pick. You see, you got the check mark. That means I copied it. That when you have a check mark here, that means that it's like a kind of a bookmark. That means that this was copied. I copied and pasted on a WordPad somewhere. All right. Now look at what they don't read. Okay. It says, an Ammonite or Moabite shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord, even to their 10th. So it says Esau, look, it says Esau in the third generation with the Egyptians can come into the congregation of the Lord. Who did the Lord hate most? It says, an Ammonite or Moabite shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord, even to their 10th generations shall they not enter to the Lord enter the congregation of the Lord forever, because they met you not with bread and with water in the way when you came forth out of Egypt, and because they hired against thee Balaam, the son of Beor of Pethor of Mesopotamia, to curse thee. Nevertheless, the Lord God would not hearken unto Balaam, but the Lord thy God turned the curse into a blessing unto thee, because the Lord thy God loved thee. So clearly here, he hates Ammonites and Moabites more than Esau. Wait, there's more. There's more here. So dude just cherry picking, right? Because they believe Esau's a white man. That's a whole nother topic. So yeah, you can't even prove that. Like, I disagree with that whole doctrine. Yeah, so yeah, the conflict. I mean, like Esau and Jacob made up latter in that verse. Jacob blessed them. So it's like, dude, what are y'all reading? What are you reading? And this is why I was noting everything. Let me go here real fast. I'll do the running right. Look, watch this. Just cat. I'm gonna put Cain. No, sorry, Cain. Watch this. Now you talk about who he hates. He hates Canaanites. Okay, watch this. Look. Move up my damn way. This damn floating menu. Okay, when the Lord thy God, and this is my way to all this Facebook. Get out the way. Okay, when the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, and had cast out many nations before thee. Now, notice that Esau and the Edomites are not named here, or the Egyptians. It says nations before thee: the Hittites, the Girgashites, the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites. 7 nations greater and mightier than thou. And when the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Wait, why don't we read this? Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show them mercy. Watch this. Only with these people. I don't see Esau here. I don't see the Egyptians here. It says, neither shalt thou make marriages. This is law. This is commandment now. Don't make marriages with them. Thy daughter shall not give unto his son, nor his son thou shalt take unto thy son. Okay, why? Why you can't mess with these guys? Because for they will turn away thy son from following me. Not Esau and the Egyptians, huh? that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of the Lord be kindled against you and destroy thee suddenly. So only these nations can get the Lord to destroy you, not Esau and the Egyptians, Kemet. So this is like cherry picking at its best, but carry on.
Hate them, whether I get along with them, that has no bearing to what the Most High had already placed forth and what the Most High had already ordained, which is his ultimate judgment on all of the nations for the things that they've done to the nation of Israel.
All right. It's interesting. So I'm going to see. So I'm gonna leave. Yeah. So I have no more questions on that. So you know, I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm gonna show. If I find it. How much? Damn it! I knew that's what happened. All right, let me take it up.
What are you doing? Come on, stop it.
What do I do with it? All right. Okay. So I was going to share my screen at three verses that I know you're probably very familiar with.
Got him.
But okay.
I'm so something. Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. I got it. Okay, here we are. So I'm gonna share my screen. And this is gonna be more so the topic. So I'm sure you've seen this correlation before. Oh, and what the argument is. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
So you'll get this from most of Christianity in this order. You'll get Isaiah 7:14, you get Luke 1:34, and then you get Matthew 1:18, and then the average Christian will dust their hand off like that and say, "There you go. That's all I need," you know. And like that's pretty much the background I come from. Like that's there, like how you said, the Most High said what he said about Esau, and that's just it. So this is what we would do. We'll say, "Here you go." And what would you do with that?
Like, are we referring to the what the world refers to as, or what Christianity refers to as, the Immaculate Conception?
Yeah, you know, I was So the virgin birth. So how would you this is our go-to, like, yo, this is it. Boom. It's done. We're right. These three verses say so. How would you respond to that?
Okay, give me 1 second. Let me see if I can share my screen as well.
Yeah, let me pull my Bible up, my online Bible.
No problem. There we go. I'm gonna pull it up for this one particular verse, and then we're gonna run through the scriptures. Here we go. Okay. Try to screen share. So we'll deal with Isaiah 7:14 first. So let me go back real quick. Can you see my screen, or you can't see it?
Yes, I see it.
Okay, perfect. Isaiah 7:14. So let's read it. I'm actually opening my Bible and read it. Isaiah chapter 7 and verse 14. And it reads, "Therefore the Lord himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel." Now we see the word virgin here, right? And we also see it being used again in the book of Matthew in reference to Isaiah chapter 14, right? Now, page 59, Alma, right? So Alma, there's two Hebrew words for virgin. One is Bethula and one is Alma, right? Now, Alma is a virgin, also known as a young woman or a woman of marriageable age or a maid or newlywed. This is the context in which they actually use it. That's the outline of biblical usage. Now, the actual definition is a lass, as veiled or private, a damsel, a maid, or a virgin. Now, again, in Hebrew, there are two different meanings for the word virgin. It was translated that way in English. Well, here's the thing. If they have two different words, actually, let me see if I can pull up the other one. Just so you can actually see it. Let me see if I can pull it up really quickly. Here it is. Bethula, a virgin. Unused root meaning to separate a virgin from her privacy, sometimes by continuation, a bride, also figuratively, a city or state, a maid, or a virgin. You also have certain things, like I have another app called Accordance, which is another Bible app. And then there's one more. But if you go and you look into the actual etymology of this particular word, this is the one that they usually use for a woman that has not laid with a man. So when we flip over to Matthew chapter 1, this is the question that I always ask, because there's a few things that we have to know. Matthew chapter 1, verse 18, it says, now the birth of Jesus, first of all, let's jump up to verse 16. It says, and Jacob begat Joseph, who's the husband of Mary, to whom was born Jesus, who is called Christ, right? So this is going down the lineage of Christ. And here's the thing. It says, this is the book of...
My fault. I got to back it up a little bit because I got to use the bathroom. He said some stuff that I disagree with. Let me just back him up. Just by, let me go about 5 minutes.
So you'll get this from most of Christianity in this order. You'll get Isaiah 7:14, you get Luke 1:34, and then you get Matthew 1:18, and then the average Christian will dust their hand off like that and say, there you go. Mm-hmm. That's all I need, and right. Like that's pretty much the background I come from. Like that's like how you said, the Most High said what he said about Esau, and that's just it. So this is what we would do. We'll say, here you go. And what would you do with that?
Like, are we referring to the what the world refers to as, or what Christianity refers to as, the Immaculate Conception?
Yeah, I was, so the virgin birth. So how would you this is our go-to, like, yo, this is it. Boom. It's done. We're right. These three verses say so. How would you respond to that?
Okay, give me 1 second. Let me see if I can share my screen as well.
Yeah, let me pull my Bible up, my online Bible.
No problem. Here we go. I'm gonna pull it up for this one particular verse, and then we're gonna run through the scriptures. Here we go. Okay. Try to screen share. So we'll deal with Isaiah 7:14 first. So let me go back real quick. Can you see my screen, or you can't see it?
Yes, I see it.
Okay, perfect. Isaiah 7:14. So let's read it. I'm actually opening my Bible and read it. Isaiah chapter 7 and verse 14. And it reads, Therefore, the Lord himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. Now we see the word virgin here, right? And we also see it being used again in the book of Matthew in reference to Isaiah chapter 14, right? Now, age 59, Alma, right? So Alma, there's two Hebrew words for virgin. One is Bethula and one is Alma, right? Now, Alma is a virgin, also known as a young woman or a woman of marriageable age or a maid or newlywed. This is the context in which they actually use it. That's the outline of biblical usage. Now, the actual definition is a lass, as veiled or private, a damsel, a maid, or a virgin. Now, again, in Hebrew, there are two different meanings for the word virgin. It was translated that way in English. Well, here's the thing. If they have two different words, actually, let me see if I can pull up the other one. Just so you can actually see it. Let me see if I can pull it up really quickly.
Yeah, I never understand why they go through this trouble. It's like okay, dude, I'm not a Christian. Like, you know, like for what I mean by that is some Christians need Isaiah 7:14 to say virgin for them to, like, I guess confirm the virgin birth. It's like, dude, you can, you know, just real simple. Like, you just could tell me, like, yo, do you just asking me, like, are we on one accord with this one? You know, when Isaiah 7:14 said a virgin, that's more so speaking of a young woman. Like, okay. I mean, I'm just like, listen, I'm listening to him, and I just, when he got done, I'm just like, dude, what did you solve? Because Mary is both. So you're saying that this is not Betula, and Isaiah 7:14 is more Alma. But when he gets done, I'm like, okay, bro, Mary's both. She's Betula and Alma. So what's the difference? I mean, so like, what's not difference? Not, I'm sorry, it's not what's the difference. It's like she's both. So let's continue. You dig? Like that doesn't debunk anything. What he's saying. I mean, they do this. I'm like, I'm confused. Like, dude, what point are you bringing out? Like, how did this? Aren't you supposed to be debunking the virgin birth? This doesn't do that. This just tell you that Mary was both. So that's like really just confirms her status more. It's like you more solidify her. It's like, whatever. Go ahead, brother. Carry on. Now they pick and choose when they use the Strongs. I always let them go first, and then I follow behind them. Okay, so once they do the Strong thing, the debate's over quickly. That's why I don't like to use Strongs. I like to just talk to them about the verses and context. But once they go to Strongs, they just seal their fate. But I don't know if I went to Strongs with them at this point. I don't know if I was that good at Strongs at this point.
Here it is. Bethula, a virgin. Unused root meaning to separate a virgin from her privacy, sometimes by continuation, a bride, also figuratively a city or state, a maid, or a virgin. You also have certain things, like I have another app called Accordance, which is another Bible app, and then there's one more. But if you go and you look into the actual etymology of this particular word, this is the one that they usually use for a woman that has not laid with a man. So when we flip over to Matthew chapter 1,
yeah,
this is the question that I always ask, because there's a few things that we have to know. Matthew chapter 1, verse 18, it says, now the birth of Jesus. First of all, let's jump up to verse 16.
Yeah, because I'm like, where I'm at now, this debate says a month ago. And where I'm at now, just a month later, I'm so at that point, the brother was a worthy opponent. You know, he still lost, but he was a worthy opponent. Now he's not. He's like way beneath me now, and that just shows you like the level of study and devotion and dedication. Like I'm light years above him right now. Okay, so and that's not a knock. I'm light years most people on this subject. Most people just like most people that know better just say, yeah, that's your thing right there. Okay, all right. Oh, let me post this. I went to Facebook for a reason. It was to post this link inside the chat. Inside the not chat, but the group. This is a late live. I wasn't going to go live. I was going to just do. I got a lot of study to do. And in fact, let me just share my screen so you can see that I have a lot of. You see all those tabs over there? You see all those? You saw those right here? This is all Bible. These are all Bible tabs. These are books that I got to finish reading. You dig? Yeah, your boy reading Greek now. So I got a lot to cover, man. That's why I didn't go live this morning. I just was reading the whole time. Where come on. Here we go. All right, so you said I got a lot, and that's not just it. Hold on. Like I got a lot of stuff. I got these tabs to go over. You dig? More Greek. I got all this stuff to go through. More Greek. You dig? What's this? Okay. What's this? Greek. What's this? Greek. So I got, and then I got to watch these videos right here where I'm learning Greek still. Yeah, that's why nobody really can mess with me, man. Like I'm too devoted towards something, and you look, and I go overboard and I will accomplish my goal. I'm different. I'm a little different. You dig? So what's this? More Greek. All right, but you guys get the point. So that's what I'm saying. I'm like, where this guy's at now. I try to revisit this story, but he wanted to talk about. He was more interested in the whole Greek Jew Gentile thing, and being that I'm seeing him read these Strongs is over for him. This is going to be a quick discussion now on the Greek Jew Gentile because he accepts the Strongs, so he can't back out now.
It says, and Jacob begat Joseph, who's the husband of Mary, to whom was born Jesus, who is called Christ, right? So this is going down the lineage of Christ. And here's the thing. It says, this is the book of the generation of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham. And it says, Abraham begat Isaac. Isaac begat Jacob. I'm going to drop down to verse 13 because it's just going down his lineage. And Zerubbabel.
That's a big mistake to just drop down to verse 18. The lineage was very important, as I found out later. So that's a big mistake to skip down. So when we talk about the Jew Gentile thing, I'm going to revisit this, and I'm going to show him how, like, what things he missed because he's being taught from a camp. He's not reading for himself.
Bel begat Abiud, and Abiud begat Eliakim. Eliakim begat Azor. I'll drop down to 15. And Eliud.
I bet you he don't know who Eliakim is. He's reading it. I bet you don't know who it is and why it's important.
Begat Eleazar. Eleazar begat Mathan, and Mathan begat.
I bet you, yeah, Eleazar is another one. Mathan. Hold on.
Begat Jacob. Begat Eleazar. Eleazar begat Mathan, and Mathan begat Jacob, and Jacob.
Oh, hold on. Oh, let me go here. Hold on. Wow, my boy, you did something for me. My boy, you don't know what you did just now. That's why I said, you heard me? I said, Ellie's there. Hold, what? Hold on. You just connected this last dot for me, my boy. Hold on. Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Okay, so we got Eliezer. We got Mathan. You write that down my notes. Hold on. Why is okay? So you got Zorobel, and so you got Eliakim, Eliakim as a grandson of Zorobel. Let me just make sure. That ain't interesting. Hold on. I can't show my note sheet live, but hold on. So you got Zerubbabel as the grandfather of Eliakim. Hold on. Yeah, I got questions that these guys can never answer. None of them. It'll be silence. When they ask questions, I answer. They ask me if I can ask them a question, they'll be totally silent. All right. Okay. So Ellie, let me write Ellie. Okay, this is interesting. Yeah, this is interesting. All right, let me let them go. Like they have no idea. Wow, interesting.
Begat Joseph. So it says, this is the generation in verse 1 of Jesus Christ. Then verse 16, it says, and Jacob.
Yeah, I want to see if I don't think he record that. Matter of fact, I'm gonna ask him to do a analysis recap on this video. Let me email him because we were corresponding about the next subject. I'm not gonna email him. I'm just gonna see if he responds to my last one because I don't want to over email him, scare him off. All right, so he never responded to the last email. All right, no problem. Let me check my emails. Oh shit. Hold on. 1 second. Okay, let's see. Let's see if I get somebody. Hold on. Yo, they say the stupidest things that somebody can say, man. It's like, yo, so you really don't want to have constructive thinking? Yeah, so I might get a full tonight. Let me finish playing this.
Joseph. So it says, this is the generation in verse 1 of Jesus Christ. Then verse 16, it says, and Jacob begat Joseph. So if in the generations of Jesus Christ, Christ's ancestors begat Joseph, we see that this is a direct descendancy in Christ's lineage, right? Now, when you flip over to Luke, that's where they talk about, well, this is Mary's lineage. Well, even playing devil's advocate of saying this is Mary's lineage, there is something very important that we have to know about Christ. So you agree, I want to ask you, so you agree that there are two different lineages, right? Yeah. This one is Joseph's and the other one is Mary's. Is that that's what you stand on? Okay. So I'm going to go over to Luke really quickly. What is that? Luke chapter 3?
Yeah, 3.
Okay. 20. Yeah. Luke chapter 3 and 23. And Jesus himself began to be about 30 years old, as was supposed, 30 years of age, being as was supposed, the son of Joseph, which was the son of Heli, which was the son of Mathat, which was the son of Levi, drop down to verse 31, which was the son of Malaiah, which was the son of Manan, which was the son of Mathatha, the son of Nathan, which was the son of David, which was the son of Jesse, which was the son of Obed, which was the son of Boaz, so on and so forth. We go all the way back to Adam, right? Now, my question, this is what I asked Christians, and I'll ask you, what lineage specifically was Christ supposed to come down?
He was supposed to come through Abraham, David.
All right, so now, I wasn't really up on Solomon too much. So I wasn't really up on the deception he about to pull. It doesn't matter, still kicked his ass. But I wasn't able to refute it too much. But so at this point, he what he's gonna say, he's gonna lie. He's gonna say Jesus got to come through Solomon. And nowhere we read that. Now I did say that much. I'm like, yo, dude, the prophecy is David and Abraham. He inserted Solomon. This is his personal insert. This is eisegesis to the fullest.
Right, through David. Do you know which son particularly he was supposed to come down from David?
I don't believe that it said which son in the verse. So I could only assume, like, from my, I can give my conjecture from my own.
Go ahead.
It would be Nathan.
Okay. And how would you prove that? Just through Luke?
Say that again.
Well, I just said that I'm guessing, my boy. I said, because I don't recall the Bible telling you which son. It doesn't. It said David, seed of 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 David. It does not say the seed of Solomon anywhere. So if you're giving me A, B, and A or B, I'm gonna say B, Nathan, because at that time I felt like Jesus came from the lineage from Luke. So I'm gonna say Nathan, of course. But this whole Solomon doctrine, this is something made up.
I
said, how would you prove that? Just through reading Luke chapter 3?
So a few things. So for one, definitely reading Luke. Definitely reading Luke. I would say reading Luke and Matthew alone. I would just Matthew's 1, Luke 1. I would come to that conclusion.
Okay, so what in Matthew 1 would give you that would allow you to come to that conclusion. Because in Matthew, it comes down to different lineage from David.
So it couldn't be Matthew's because of Jeconiah. Jeconiah is cursed, and he's in Matthew's genealogy, and he's not in Luke's. So that's how I come to that conclusion. So that's why Matthew, the way we teach, would be ruled out.
Okay. Well, I'm fairly, what's the word? Fairly familiar with the understanding of most people and how they explain the curse of Jeconiah. But when you, I would have to actually pull it up. Let me see if I can. I don't know if it's on here. No, it would be. Give me a second. I'm going to pull this out for one quick second.
Yeah, I'm gonna log in with a second device because my son is near my laptop, and I'm afraid he's gonna close it or drop it. So let me just get it back.
Right. No problem.
Because I keep moving around, and I'm a Sagittarius, and a lot of men that Sagittarius are clumsy. So it's a matter of time before I drop this damn thing trying to hide it from him.
Right. Let me see if I can pull this up. Is it this one? I think it's this one. Yada.
Yeah,
that's not that one. Oh, I think I have it. Yep, I have it right here. It should be it. Oh, okay. Oh,
823.
Okay. Stop.
Oh shit. Yeah, so that's just me. And like I said, if you notice at the second device, there's no microphone at all attached to it.
Right.
Because I didn't select the audio. And this is the only way to have two devices, unless you're in different rooms without, the echoing.
Without the echo, right? Okay. Okay. Yada. Here we go. Okay. Now, let's move this out of my way. Okay. Let's go to, there's a few things that I have to grab, but let's go to 2 Samuel really quickly.
You want me to share my screen and go to the verse?
You can.
All right.
I'm just letting you know which scripture that I'm going to. So 2 Samuel chapter 7, right?
Hey, peace, Israel.
This is
CK.
the prophet Nathan, and he's talking to King David. I'll read verse 10. It says, moreover, I will appoint a place for.
All right, so Israel, ILCK. So now his argument at this point, he's the prophecy where it says Jesus will come through Abraham's seed, and David is not enough for this guy. They got some weird doctrine that they teach that Jesus come from Solomon. So I ain't gonna lie, at this time a month ago, I never heard of that. So he caught me off guard. I didn't believe it, but he caught me off guard. So I really ain't have the best defense because at that stage I have not read Solomon. So I don't know what he did. Now I know like the average Christian. I know he had all these wives and he did some bad things, but I didn't really know to what degree and his actual covenant with the Lord until LJ put me on game about Solomon afterwards. I said, oh, he's done if you ever talk again. And we communicate through email, but he never seemed interested to talk again. But he claimed he'll talk with me on a Jew, Gentile, Greek thing. And from there, I think I'll mention the virgin birth. I'll slip that in there on him. Yeah. So yeah. So what he's doing now is he's just showing me that Jesus had to come through. Now Solomon. I'm like, dude, I don't really. Okay, dude, I'm listening. Go ahead.
For my people, and will plant them. Actually, I can drop down to verse 12, and I'll read. The king sat in the house. Let me see where I can get straight to the point. Here it is, verse 5. It says, "Go and tell my servant David, thus saith the Lord, shalt thou build me a house for me to dwell in?" Then it continues on. I just wanted to establish the premise of the Most High is talking to David right now. He went through the prophet Nathan to speak to David. Drop down to verse 12. "And when thy days be fulfilled."
And it's interesting because another Israelite, they all go to 2 Samuel 7:12, some of them, and they have counter arguments. That's interesting because one told me that this ain't talking about Solomon, and the other guy, and he's telling me it is. So this is interesting.
"And thou shalt sleep with thy fathers," meaning when he dies. "I will set up thy seed after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels, and I will establish his kingdom. He shall build an house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever." So do you agree that this is talking about Christ?
Yeah, it's like a future prophecy. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. It says, "He shall build an house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. I will be his father, and he shall be my son. If he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of men and with the stripes of the children of men." Right now, this is what's called manifold or twofold, because he actually had a literal house built. Now, why is this important? Because only Nathan wasn't the one that built the house of the Lord. It was Solomon. So through the seed of Solomon on down, we eventually get to Christ. We see that in the book of Matthew. So whoever the Son of God was, or whoever the Son of God would have been, would have had to establish, or at least down his lineage would have had to establish the temple. And so when you read Luke, whatever this lineage is, some people say it's Mary, some people say it's a different rendition of Joseph's lineage, however you want to look at it, however you want to spin it. This particular one doesn't go down the kingly seed line because Christ would have had to come from the actual descendancy of the kings, and that was through Solomon's lineage. Nathan was not a king. Nathan was not a part of the kingship. So he was a part of the family of the kings, but he was not the one that was ordained to be a king. Solomon was. So as you continue to go down that lineage, that's where you get Christ in Matthew chapter 1. We also see on a number of occasions, such as Romans 1 and 3. I'll grab a few in the New Testament specifically.
Yeah.
Romans chapter 1 and 3, it says concerning his son, Jesus Christ.
ILCK. I noticed that, of course, after, debates, after experience, you get it. And I just watched, I don't know if y'all into boxing. As you can see, my boxing gloves, I'm a huge boxing fan. Matter of fact, all my views I got, because somebody made a comment. Somebody was like, all those subscribers, your views don't show. He was trolling, whatever. He was correct, but he was trolling. So I just simply said to him very politely, I didn't say anything mean. I said, bro, that's going to happen when you switch from sports to like your religious talk. You're going to lose a lot of interest of people, right? Because they didn't subscribe to me to hear me talk about religion. They subscribe to me to hear me talk about boxing. So mostly all my subscribers come from myself talking about boxing, not religious stuff like I'm doing now. The reason why I stopped doing the boxing thing, I still do it off the topic, but mainly because there's a lot of racism in boxing. right? There's a lot of people as racist against black fighters. You got Hispanics that are racist, but you got Hispanics who love black fighters. So you believe me, you can't like I got a boxing channel, a boxing group on Facebook about it's called Mayweather Fans, and majority of the people in there are Hispanic. So that debunked the whole, Hispanics, don't like Mayweather. That's a lie. They're Mayweather fans. They love him. They appreciate him. So, but you got other fans who don't like Mayweather, but that does not mean they're racist, right? They're gonna like who they like. It's Hispanic. It's supposed to like somebody from their country, and a Russian supposed to like a Russian, and a English man supposed to like Ricky Hatton. That's how it goes. And they're supposed to talk trash if their fighter wins, right? A Tyson Fury fan is supposed to talk trash to a Deontay Wilder fan. That's the way it goes. You can't hate on that. A Pacquiao fan is supposed to talk trash. But you have real racism though. You got people who just say racist things against black fighters that, and like for me, I just really wasn't like that. That deterred me from keep going. Like they're just the racism. Like, I don't want to, and like it's inevitable. Like you can't avoid that. The people are really racist. It's clear that you hear the slurs, the derogatory terms in your comments. That's not going anywhere. Not just Hispanics, whites, and Filipinos. Everybody, everybody who's not non-black, pretty much going to say something racist towards the great black fighters. Then you got some black people who go dumb hard on the other races. So, but yeah, so it became like a race war. So I said, I found more balance, less racism. I talk about this type of stuff. Unboxing for God now. Right. Yeah. Knock out these false doctrines. Yeah, so that was to that guy who's made that comment. If you're listening now, it's like, dude, yeah, I expect my numbers to drop. And at that point, listen, that was so long ago, there was no live. Nothing was alive. You just upload a video. And so just imagine that. Just imagine if I can go live at that time, man, I'll probably have like 60,000 subscribers. Because I built a good fan base in a short period of time. I made myself a name in a short period of time. And my name was, it started off as the Boxing Wizard. That was my name. And then I said, okay, let me call myself Unbiased. I think it was Unbiased. It was Unbiased Boxing, something like that first, and then Unbiased, because I wanted to cover basketball and football. So I said, let me just do Unbiased Sports. I cover all sports. And then I was on Satnetta TV commenting from the chat. I meant to comment from my Keep It Real Israel channel, but I made a mistake and I never switched back over. I was on my Unbiased Sports, and that's how that name just stayed on me. I tried to shake it off, it was over. Once Brother Reggie them shouted me out as Unbiased Sports, so I never see me as I couldn't change it. They wouldn't accept the Hebrew Israelite channel. So I was stuck with Unbiased Sports ever since then. But had I never made that bonehead mistake, you guys would be calling me Keep It Real right now. Keep It Real Israel. All right. So now
our Lord,
let's listen to how Jesus got to come through Solomon, no longer David,
which was made of the seed of David according to the flesh. Revelations chapter 22 and verse 14.
Now, well, he meant 16. And again, I'm not, everything is growth. You can't look back and see where you didn't have any information and then get pissed off. Dude, it was just not the time, I didn't have it. But Revelation 22, I don't know why they go there. ILCK, I don't know why they go there. That works for me 100%. It does not work for them. And I'd be confused when they read my verses. Like, dude, why'd you read that? Like, what I mean? I want a challenge. I want a real challenge. Don't read my evidence. It doesn't work for you, man. I want a real challenge. Don't make it easy for me. Don't read my verses thinking they work for you. They don't work for you. If I wrote it down with my comprehension, it worked for me. Trust me, there's no mistake there. Okay. So let's see if I got contender. All right, play the video.
Verse 16. I, Jesus, have sent mine angel to testify unto you these things in the churches. I am the root and the offspring of David and the bright and morning star. There's a number of other scriptures that says the exact same thing, showing that he had direct descendancy from David. And then here is one of the other ones that I ask people about, Hebrews.
Yeah, I gotta find that bill we had, RLCK. I gotta watch that one over because you said a whole bunch of stuff that I cannot. I caught most of it, but I want to hear. No, I can't lie. I didn't catch most of it, but I caught some important things from it. But I want to go back and do you know what month that was? So I can go back, or how many weeks ago? That'll like narrow it down. Because most likely I didn't title it. I had a dumb title. I know. I learned better now, but I would title it "Stupid Things," and I wouldn't even retitle it after the live was over.
Hebrews. Chapter.
Where you going? What verse? Let me follow you. What verse? Chapter?
No problem. Hebrews chapter 2.
Oh, Hebrew 2:16, not this one.
And I want to read verse
They skipped it,
14
man.
all the way down to
17. Say 17. Say 17. Just say it.
17.
Hey.
So it says,
Yo, but look, how do you listen? When they go to Hebrews 2, I got evidence that supports me, but my verse is earlier. So it's like, bro, if you skip past what I think is important and you start at verse 14, then of course you miss the context. So now we got to work with yours to go back to mine. So we got to go to yours to work back 10 scriptures to go to mine. It's like, dude, you skipped past something. You never read this. Because this makes sense for what you pulled, and you would not have that eisegesis had you read my verse first. But because you skipped past it, I understand why you believe that silliness, but that's cherry picking at the the precept thing is cherry picking.
so it says, for as much then as children are partakers of flesh and blood, he also himself likewise took part of the same, that through death he might destroy him that have power of death, that is the devil, and deliver them who through fear of death were all their lifetime subject to bondage. Verse 16, for verily he took not on him the nature of angels, but he took on him the seed of Abraham. Therefore, in all things it behooved him to be made like unto his brethren, that he might be a merciful and faithful high priest in things pertaining to God, to make reconciliation for the sins of people, right? So Hebrews 2:17, it says, he in all things it behooved him to be made like unto his brethren. So we know that every man was made of the seed of man. You even determine, say it again.
Are you sure every man was made like that?
Every man was made like unto the seed of man, with the exception of the first people on earth, because the scriptures say, let us make man in our image, and then Adam.
Of course, yeah. I'm sorry, as far as names, like individual names. So we definitely got Adam, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So Adam was a one-off, and I will argue that Jesus is a one-off. But what about Melchizedek?
I would say probably Melchizedek too, because it says it talks about his what is it called? Um, it talks about when he came down, it said having neither mother nor father, something to that degree in Hebrews. So excuse me. You have a few people that were brought up in that way, but we also see here Melchizedek didn't have a tribe, right? We also know that Adam didn't have a tribe. He was one of the first individuals created, or at the
How was Melchizedek a priest without a tribe, though? I thought the priests come from the tribe of Levi. But anyway, go ahead, brother. Carry on.
very least the first individual that the Most High actually was dealing with, because that's where the story of Israel begins, from Adam on down to Seth, Enoch, so on and so forth. But when you read verse 17, that's why it says he was made like unto his brethren. So he literally had other brothers. And you also see that, the people around him, Peter, John, Matthew, Bartholomew, all of them are also his brother. If he was made like unto his brethren, that means he came down the exact same way that they did. He didn't partake of the nature of angels. You see other messengers, they don't specify how they got there, or other angels, they don't specify how they got there, like the men that went into Sodom and Gomorrah. We don't know if those were people that the Most High just placed down here, but we know that the scriptures refer to them as angels. And if we're going to say like, oh no, those were actual angels, or even the cherubims and those types of angels, the scriptures say that Christ didn't partake or didn't come down in the same nature as those angels. It said he came down like the rest of his brethren. We also have to look at Matthew chapter 1, which is the
again, you skipped past it. Hold on, it just but this is life, though. Yeah, anybody listening, this is life. Sometimes, in order to, like, your first day at the job, your first week, your first month, you're gonna mess up. You're gonna forget things, right? But then a year later, 2 years later, you're gonna be good at your job, and you're gonna think back at your first day, your first week, how you messed up, and it was so embarrassing, and you be ashamed of your starting point. And that's how I'm right now. Like, damn, this is my starting point, and I didn't know so much stuff. But you have to go through that to be the worker you are 2 years later, right? To be the, who knows? Like, you're probably interviewing people now because you're so good at your job. Maybe a promotion, maybe your title switched. You got a whole different department because you're so good at what you do. But those early beginnings were embarrassing, and you cannot get over. That's just what it's going to be. So when I'm debating, when I get back into the game, debating these topics, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer. Now, my position is 100%. I'm going to win the position, the argument. But certain points I'm going to lose because I'm not familiar with these verses anymore. And like, I didn't even know that. I didn't know these things anymore until I was asked. When Captain asked me about the Passover in Egypt, putting the door on putting the blood on the doors, and what kids were trying to be killed. I said, Moses, I totally forgot about the angel of death, the death angel. I totally forgot about that. He laughed and stuff, but he said off topic, but then gonna ask me that, and I got it wrong. He gonna hold me to it as though this was something important. It was totally off topic of the virgin birth, but I forgot. But that's what happens. But it's off topic though. So, and even my man right here is talking about Solomon. Like, this is cat. This is cat.
Only book that references Solomon in the kingly lineage. And if Christ is coming from the lineage of kings, he would have had to come down the actual lineage of kings, which is Solomon's line.
That's not true. Nathan's, and I'm gonna say it, and Nathan's lineage is also kingly because King David is there. I mean, again, this is what you got to go through. You got to go through guys like him to get to the big fish, to the bigger fish, and that just don't make any sense. It's like, King David's in both, so both lineages established kingship. And the prophecy is that Jesus got to come from David. Well, he's in both lineages, so it could be any, meeny, miny, mo. It still fulfills prophecy, but he's adding something to what's going on. This is his personal eisegesis, and it's bad.
When you look at Luke, Luke is through Nathan, the son of David. When you look at Matthew, Matthew is Solomon, the son of David. And we see that is the lineage of Joseph. Because when you read Matthew 1 and I think it's 16, it says Jacob begot Joseph. When you read Matthew 1:1, it says that this is the lineage or the generations of Jesus Christ. So are you saying this is, I would ask you this, are you saying that this is his step parents lineage?
Yeah.
Okay. We don't see that anywhere in Torah where you determine your step parents lineage as your lineage, because you cannot adopt a lineage.
My brother, where I'm at now, you'll eat those words. Okay. And he's not, no offense, but he's not worthy enough for me to show him that. I want to show a big fish that. He's not worthy enough for me to show him that. He got to get his boss. Bosses talk to bosses. He get his boss, I'll talk to his boss on that. But for me, he's too much of a small fish for me to go ahead and bring that to. That was 100% false. That was 100% false. Okay? He just talking.
Are you sure?
Yes, you don't see that in Torah where you can adopt an actual lineage and say, oh, I am now a part of this tribe or a part of this lineage because my mom.
Okay, he just made that up.
Married this particular person. I was already born.
I mean, yeah, and that's the thing. Let me write that down in case I talk to him again. Let me document that. 50 to 50-minute mark where he said, your mom. He specifically said, mom. Yeah, this is not good for him. Okay, yeah, so I documented that.
Born, let's say my mom's a widow.
Right.
She gets married to another person. I now take on that lineage. You don't see that.
Yeah, I'm going to argue that you do. And I'm going to say there's two instances in the Old Testament where that happened.
Which is where?
So I'm going to first go to a situation where it happened. Then I'm going to go into the law.
Mm-hmm.
That it's supposed to be that way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But first I'm going to address you read a couple things and I'm following you, I'm really paying attention. So, and that's what I'm going to say this. Some people would say, my name is Ron Harrison, of course. So some people would say, yeah, but why talk to the brother, Daraj, when you guys are coming up from different backgrounds? At the end of the day, you're going to go back to what you do and he go back to what he does. And people see these dialogues as,
oh, my bad,
fruitless. And I argue differently. I would say, no. I say, it's not my job to change anything Daraj is doing in his direction. It's not his job to change my direction. What we're doing is really just comparing notes. That's what we're doing. And if I say something that Daraj can make an adjustment somewhere in his doctrine, that's great, for me. And if Daraj can say something that can make me make an adjustment in my previous position, that's great. And guess what? If there's nothing you say that can make me change my direction, that's also great. And if there's nothing I can say to change the direction, that's also great, because at least we attempted. At least we got together, we sat down, you did it respectfully, nobody's arguing, nobody's debating, there's no feelings involved, and we're really just dialoguing like men, really.
Right.
So that's how I see these dialogues. So when I hear certain doctrines from certain people and they be talking real bold online, I'm like, yo, let's just have a peace. But they think, our people think when you ask to sit down, talk, they automatically think it's a fight, it's an argument. It's like,
Mhm.
nah, bro, I don't know what you was exposed to growing up, but I really just want to talk to you. You know, that's it. And we could go our different ways after that. You know, some of us just want to be heard. So
Right.
so I would say that even though Nathan wasn't the king himself, I would say that the emphasis isn't on the kings, even though it's coming from I would say that the emphasis is coming from the lineage of kings. So even though Nathan was not a king himself, his father was like the greatest king ever to live. And I think that's the focal point where I'm concerned when I read that.
I would disagree, but go ahead,
Yeah,
because I know you said you wanted to deal with that and then
yeah,
touch on the point that I made. Go ahead, though. I'm
yeah.
listening.
So that's where I would come from. And secondly, so yeah, so I would say like that's what that's how I respond to that one. Like Nathan was definitely the son of um, um,
David.
David, and I would say that because I'm open to like learn different stuff. I don't know if the focus was just on Jesus being king, because we also mentioned you actually read just now that the priest being a priest somewhere in there, and we know Melchizedek was a priest, and we what else? Yes, I don't know if he was supposed to be a king. It say he'll sit on the throne as king and those things. You know, we can look at Zerubbabel sitting as governor, and it also calls the prophecy in Isaiah 7:14 says he's everlasting, blah blah blah. We think that's Jesus, and it said that he'll be governor. And it said king, said governor. So that's the angle I would come.
Okay. And I guess I'll touch on that after you bring out your other points.
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. Oh, you didn't have anything pertaining to there's something that you said you wanted to speak on.
So let me see. The last thing we read, I'm looking at it right now. So okay. No, so I agree with the angel thing. I don't have a problem with that. And I do believe that people in Sodom and Gomorrah were angels, like no different than Gabriel or whoever else. So yes, that's not an issue over here. Yeah, no, I can rest my hat on that.
Okay. I think you're referring to Isaiah 7.
Now, I'm going to actually call in too, because I want to get my coffee. So I'm going to call in right now, and I'll still hear you. I'm just going to be in the car, heading to Wawa.
Okay, no problem. No problem.
might be live.
I'm weird, bro. If I don't get it at a certain time, I'm good.
So
Right.
I don't even want it.
I'm in the background trying to make it
That's
happen.
funny.
It got to be morning. It can't be 11:30, 12. No.
Right. So when you look into and this is where we get and this is why this is a point that I forgot to bring out. When you look into that's what you were supposed to bring out, which will actually determine
Yeah, I did forget.
To a degree the course of the conversation. So when we're talking about lineage, you said you were going to show me an individual who had a child whose lineage actually or tribe or whatever you want to say changed because their mother had gotten married.
Right.
So that's what I wanted to see what you were referencing.
As I come back, I will do that. That's why I threw that out there. I'm like, damn, I can't even go into it right now because I gotta run a Wawa. But I will be able to, bring up some verses to substantiate that once I get back. It's gonna take about 15 minutes. Nothing crazy.
Okay, not a problem. I have about 30 minutes. I'm gonna get ready to take my daughter to school in a minute, so that works.
Also, I thank you for calling in and building with me.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. So I want to what am I looking for? Oh, I want to go over to the book of Numbers. And I want to read chapter 1.
Are you going to? Okay, number. All right, I'm getting that with you.
No problem. Numbers chapter 1 and verse 18. And it says, and they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees, which is, of course, their genealogy, their lineage, after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names from 20 years old and upwards by their polls. So we see here, and in addition to, even when you're reading, even when you're reading the lineage of Christ, everything is patrilineal. So you have to know where, and even when you look at the priestly lineage in the book of Ezra, they're trying to figure out where your father is from. That's also part of the reason why when we look into history, when we would go to war, we would kill all of the men and the women who had laid with men, and they would also try to kill all of our men. You can read that in the Maccabean history. Whether I don't know if you subscribe to the Apocrypha or not, but we do know that the Maccabean history is true history according to academia, and it actually is in the original King James Version Bible before it was removed.
Yeah. I don't subscribe to it, but I don't have a problem when brothers read from it.
Okay. And so that's the only reason I stayed away from it, because there is a scripture in Wisdom of Solomon that talks about kings, but we do know Maccabean history to be factual. We also see it referenced in the New Testament as well. So we can say at the very least that the book of the Maccabees was something that was being adhered to in the or in the time of the New Testament, rather.
I agree with some of that stuff, but let me insert this real quick.
Go ahead.
I would see that as man customs. When Mark 7:9 says you have disobeyed the commandments following traditions. So I would say a lot of things Israel did wasn't a commandment from anybody. It just became a tradition, a custom. So I would say, yeah, sure. They was going through it, like you said, patriarchal. I would say I have no problem with that, but I don't believe that was law. I don't believe that was like the divine order. So if you go back to Numbers chapter 1, right? Mm-hmm. Start from verse 1.
Numbers chapter 1.
Because there was a reason why he was doing this. Yeah.
I don't disagree with that, but the whole point that I was making was that we see both here, we see in the book of Chronicles, we see even in the New Testament that everything, the way that we determine your tribe, the way that we determine where you come from, your lineage is determined by who your father is. We even see that in the book of Ezra, because they were like, if your father wasn't a priest, you cannot be a part of the priesthood. So we see that they held dearly to patrilineal patrilineal acknowledgement to know who you are, what tribe you are from. Now, Numbers 1 and 18 is just what clearly says it verbatim. They declared their pedigrees by the house of their fathers.
Yeah, but that was for a certain reason, though. They were separating the men from the women for a particular thing, and that's why it was supposed to be that way for a particular thing. They wasn't really doing a genealogy check. They was like really doing something else. I can't remember off top, but it's in the early verses. So they were doing that for a particular reason.
That's fine, but this is solely to establish the fact that this is just one of the areas where it clearly says it. But this is solely to establish the fact that the Most High, when He's dealing with who you are and who your tribe is, He always says your father. So
I agree.
Yeah, that's all. That's all the purpose of this was to establish. So I was saying that to say, Christ didn't have to say that now Christ, which is why I would personally go to the book of Wisdom of Solomon. It says there is no king in this world that will not have come from a man and a woman, or from, what do they call it? The act of the pleasure of sleep. Wisdom of Solomon 7, I believe it is, the act that follows with the pleasure of sleep, which is talking about sex. So you would need to be from a particular seed. We also see in the scriptures in Mark chapter 12, it says angels neither marry nor are given unto marriage. Now we know, because we even see where he talks about in the time of Noah, there will be drinking and marriages and given unto marriage. And essentially it's talking about, sex. And so when we're looking in the book of Mark, where it talks about the angels don't do that, a lot of people will say, oh, well, the Holy Spirit came upon Mary and that's what impregnated her. Well, then that would directly contradict what Christ said. Angels don't marry nor are given unto marriage, because the angel has impregnated her.
Now I would. That might be some Catholic stuff. That might be some Catholic stuff, but I don't, subscribe to an angel and Mary having sex.
Okay. So what do you, when we're talking about the, what they refer to as the Immaculate Conception, How did Mary become pregnant?
All right, so let me first address the king thing.
Go ahead.
So so there was a woman king in the Bible, right?
No, there wasn't a woman king. There was a queen in the Bible.
I could swear I read. Yeah, was the queen? Yeah, I could be.
Jezebel was a queen of consort, and
I think it was
Athaliah was a queen because her son was too young to rule, and everyone else had died. So those were the two queens that you see in history in the Bible.
So my point in saying that was like you will see a condition, right?
Mhm.
A term and condition where it's allowed, you know, and the Bible shows you that, you know, case after case after case where it's originally this way, but then there's a term and condition where it can go the opposite way.
So if you can provide, you know, scriptural evidence, then, you know, maybe we can have an actual conversation about that. I would disagree.
Yeah.
I would definitely disagree with that because you have only a few situations and only a few anomalies to those particular situations. But when we're talking about kingship, it wasn't that they were. It was allowed. It was that the Bible is just it chronicles history. So in this particular time, you had an issue where all of the men had died, and the child who was supposed to come from the seed line that was supposed to be next up as king couldn't become king. And so you had the queen, because I believe she was actually the one that killed everybody, with the exception of this particular son.
She was an evil person.
Right. And so she got to rule. And this isn't to say that, you know, God was like, oh, it's okay, or whatever the case is. This was, you know, the Most High said, you know, we're going to let everything run its course. And so she ended up dying. And whoever was supposed to be king in that time was actually reestablished as king. So I'm saying that to say we have various anomalies in the scriptures, but
Right.
it's not to say, oh, you know, this has happened a number of times, and this was what, you know, what was accepted or allowed to happen in the Bible. No, this was just the Bible chronicling the history of what actually went on. Because you have situations like, for example, in the book of Judges, where, you know, Samson the Nazarite was you know, he was supposed to be a Nazarite. He wasn't supposed to touch any dead things, so on and so forth. And he did a number of things that was contrary to what he's supposed to do as a Nazarite. Now, was it okay? It doesn't say. It's just chronicling the history of what happened. So that's what the Bible does. It's a book of history and it's a book of laws.
Yes. So my thing was those anomalies you speak of, they happen and they're one-offs. And I would say that the virgin conception is one of those anomalies that's a one-off. You know, I would throw that in that same bucket with Melchizedek, and you know, because you keep seeing those stories. So let me just, I'm almost on my way to
go ahead, no problem.
And just put them in the car. So let's hey, so I said Matthews. I said he couldn't come from Matthews because of the curse of Jeconiah. You know, Scripture says that Jeconiah kids, his offspring, the seed, as you say, was cursed, and nobody will be paraphrasing, be worthy to sit on the throne, King David's throne. So that was done. They suspended that.
But we see that they had children though. Or Jeconiah had actual children. So when it references rendering Jeconiah childless, because that's what a lot of people go to. Oh, he didn't have any children. Yeah, he did actually. You see that in First Chronicles chapter 3.
No, that's what I go to. Like I know that, and I'm familiar with the argument. No, when it said childless, because the Bible clearly mentions his 3 sons. So it wasn't saying childless like no children. It was saying childless that nobody's going to be heirs to the throne. Like he'll be childless as far as heirs to the throne.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit! You heard me?
Yeah, I heard you.
Yeah,
I was giving you place to expound.
Yeah, that's the angle we come from. Yeah, because he clearly mentioned it mentioned 3 kids. It was not
Right.
talking about that. And then, right. So if you look at when you look at the different genealogies, like most people probably don't care, but don't see that they split. For one, that's important to like point out. And then you'll see that Jeconiah is in one genealogy, the cursed guy. He's not in the other one, but his son Zerubbabel's in both. So that means that Matthew and Luke deliberately put him there and took him out. And for us, when we study, we say like that was a sign that's looked over. Like he's in one to suspend it. He's not in the other one to validate it.
Well, I would disagree. When you read about the curse of Coniah or the curse of Jeconiah, because they're essentially the same thing.
Yeah,
when you drop down a verse, and like you said, nobody will be found worthy of the throne, which the Most High didn't lie, right? When we read, Matthew chapter 1 and verse 11, and Josiah begat Jeconiah and his brethren about the time they were carried away to Babylon. And afterward they were brought to Babylon. Jeconiah begat Salathiel, and Salathiel begat Zerubbabel, so on and so forth. Now, where do we see the Most High didn't lie in this? The kingdom of Judah was taken over at this point. He didn't have any seed that was on the throne, because the throne was now taken away. We were now in captivity. And from the Babylonian captivity on down, we never were able to be established as our own sovereign kingdom again. So it wasn't wrong. Right here, it shows that, yeah, he was taken from the throne. So when you go down the lineage of Nathan, the exact same thing. When you get to this particular time, there was no throne to be given. But the lineage that you see with Nathan is not, and I'll say it again, is not the lineage of the kings, right? So when we use the curse of Coniah, which we already know it's not literally being childless, but nobody would be worthy to sit on the throne. That was for no one. No one was on the throne anymore. So that's why I say even
like the offspring,
right? So even with that being said, I would personally argue that this is for anyone, but Christ is still of the descendancy of Coniah or Jeconiah. So when he said you guys will no longer sit on the throne, we see it right here, because even when Christ came, he wasn't sitting on the throne. Christ came at this particular time to be a sacrifice, to be a teacher, to show mercy, and to show us how to perfectly keep the law. We see that a number of things had to be fulfilled. We see it in Matthew 5. We see it in Luke 24 and 44. He said these are the things that had to be fulfilled first and foremost, and then he's supposed to come back and establish his actual kingdom.
Yeah, so that's why we what's a good thing? I got that from Nathaniel 7. So I'm telling you, bro, I really am a student to this. I watch a lot of different videos, and I catch things. So when I watched Truth Nation Virgin Birth video all together yesterday, and they said the same thing I said as far as it caught me by surprise. They said they taught me to look up suppose, as was supposed in Luke 3:23. This was Truth Nation. So I'm like, oh shit, I never thought to do that. I looked it up, and it was definitely what they said. It was father-in-law. So I really, really watch entire, whatever I want to learn or discuss, I really exhaust it. I don't just go one place and be, delusional or cognitive dissonant. I really try to do my due diligence, right?
Right.
And then, so I was really shocked because I had watched True Nation video and I didn't go all the way through it because I seen Nathaniel 7. So I said, oh shit. So I stopped on yours and I commented wow, you guys teach that? And then I stopped with yours and I watched Nathaniel's all the way through. And because I think it was shorter too. And he said it. So I'm like, oh. So then I watched Truth Nation and they said the same exact thing. So I'm like, wow. So so we all agree, that Brother Nathaniel, IUIC, and Truth Nation, we all agree that Luke is that's the father, that's Mary's father's genealogy, which caught me complete left field. See, and that's true research. I'm not going in, I'm not watching the videos to debunk them, or to argue. I'm actually learning.
Right.
And I'm jotting down, and I'm seeing where we disagree at. And I don't think because I disagree is that you're wrong. I say, shit, I might be wrong. You know, so I put it on me first. I said, okay, let me just double check to make sure I'm confident with my stance. And if I double check, triple check, and I think my stance is solid, then I say, okay, I think these brothers might have been a little off here, and let me see why they went off, whatever. I try to think for you, and then I ultimately say, let me just talk to them outright, you know, and get it from the horse's mouth.
Right.
So I say all of that to say, but I'm just telling you my position is not to say it's better than yours or to convince you anywhere else. I'm just saying where I'm coming from, right? Like my logic, the way I compute things. So because we don't put focus on the lineage of kings, like the actual, you know, king himself, like you said, Nathan did not come. He was not a king. So even though he come from David, his still changes from Solomon, because Solomon was actually a king. So that is a clear difference, you dig?
Right.
Solomon was a king and blood. That's more stronger than somebody just being blood.
Right.
Yes, I agree with that. So I would say, so I'm saying where my mind computes is, it is open. You know, we're human. So if I hear something contrary, I'm not going to tell you, I believe it. I'm going to sleep on it. You dig? I'm going to go back and read and you know, let's look at this over. And
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was telling you how my mind works. So I'm not, just because I might stand on something at the end of the phone call doesn't mean like that's my end game. Like there's a chance I'm going to go back and just like I said, I'm going to try to either verify myself or verify you.
Right. And so my thing was, when you look at the book. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Let me just conclude with this. So I'm telling you why I'm sitting on Nathan, because I don't believe that I believe he couldn't have been a king, or he would have been in the dispel of Jeconiah's line. So I'm saying he got lucky because he was not a king or come from the lineage of kings, and this is why he's qualified to do what he did. You could go. Okay,
so when we speak on the I guess the dispel of Jeconiah's line, again, this isn't referencing, you know, what this is talking about is we would end up in captivity, which we did. So we no longer had a kingship. We no longer had a throne to sit on, because in the time of Jeconiah is when we went into the Babylonian captivity. So we had no more reign, we had no more dominion. And so what a lot of people look at that as, when it talks about the curse of Jeconiah, is saying, oh, the lineage has been cut off. Nobody from the line of Jeconiah will ever be king again.
Yeah.
Which technically is correct, but at the same time, it's not, because again, we see that this is the genealogy of Christ when we read Matthew 1:1. It opens up with it. The book of the generation of Jesus Christ. Yeah. So when we're talking about the generations, we're talking about genealogy, we're talking about pedigree. It says this is Jesus Christ's pedigree, and it goes all the way down to Joseph. Right now, unless you're able to show in the scriptures where a child was able to adopt the
I'm gonna show you that once I get my car. Okay. I'm here now with my coffee.
Okay. And unless you're able to show in the scriptures somewhere where somebody was like, well, originally I am the tribe of such and such, or the son of such and such, but we're going to go ahead and now take on my stepfather's lineage, then I can't agree with what you're saying unless you can show me an instance of that in the scriptures.
Yeah, so right now I'm rushing. I'm putting my sugar in a cup, and I will be with you in 5 minutes. And the reason why I wanted to get coffee right now, not that, of course, it's the time, it's morning, and I can't wait later, but my son was fighting his sleep. Now he's totally asleep. I knew if he get in the car, he'll go to sleep.
He'll go to sleep.
Yes, it worked out. The strategy worked out to get him in the car and pull off. So he's asleep.
Right.
So therefore, he's not going to try to attack my laptop. Believe me, he keep attacking it. When I'm talking to you,
right.
He keep trying to grab it and close it. All right. So, but we still can, talk until so that burden of proof is on me.
Mm-hmm.
And I would get to you in a second. So let me see if I got any questions on.
And then also I'm
Okay.
gonna grab First Chronicles really quickly while you're, because I know you're about to be en
First
route back home.
Chronicles.
First Chronicles
Right?
chapter
Yeah.
28, verse 5. And this is King David speaking, and this is King David speaking on what the Lord expressed to him. And of all my sons, for the Lord hath given me many, he hath chosen Solomon, my son, to sit upon the throne of the kingdom of.
Now this is just he got to choose one. He got to choose one, but Solomon fumbled the bag, just like the other kings, and man. He fumbled the bag. He fumbled the bag. Okay. I can't wait till God, what's this? I can't wait till this guy finally hop back on the thing, man. This is terrible. They just indoctrinated this Solomon thing. Ugh.
Of the Lord over Israel. Now watch this. And he said unto me, Solomon thy son, he shall build my house and my courts, for I have chosen him to be my son, and I will be his father. Now we heard that in 2 Samuel, right? Then he says, moreover, I will establish his, which is Solomon, kingdom forever, if he be constant to do my commandments and my judgments as at this day. Now we see that his kingdom was to be established forever. So it had to be Solomon's seed, Solomon's
But
line.
it was conditional, right? Because you just read it was conditional. If he does a few things, right? Yeah.
Yes. And the thing was, outside of the foolishness that Solomon did, it talks about how Solomon was just like David, a man after his heart, with the exception of blah, blah, blah. So we know Solomon wasn't a wicked king. Solomon did wicked things, and he was chastised for it. And that's where the nation became split. You had the Rehoboam and Jeroboam situation. That's when the northern kingdom went into full-blown idolatry. We read in the book of Hosea where the Lord said, I'm not dealing with them anymore. But then he began to deal with them again, as he said it will be prophesied in Hosea 1:10, so on and so forth. Absolutely. But we see that we see here that his kingdom would be the one that would be established forever. Like you said, it was conditional, which overall, I feel that it was the conditions were fulfilled because he wasn't a flat out wicked king. Even the Lord doesn't say that he was a flat out wicked king. We see all through you have.
All right. Again, this is cat. This is cat. This is come on. All right, come on. Let's do this real fast. Matter of fact, I'm already here. Come on, man. This is pure cat right here. But again, I didn't know about Solomon at the time. LJ put me on, but this is pure cat. All right. I think we're at first. I don't. Let me see. Let's see. Let's see. Like this is just pure cat. Like when you could just. But again, he might not know. I'm getting him. He's young. I get him Ben Fidel. He might not know. Okay, it might be Second Kings, which I think it is. I should have went there first. Oh shit. Shit, can I spell? Okay, it narrowed it down. Yeah, it's gonna be First Kings. I could tell. It's just pure cat. Like people gotta. And King Solomon shall be blessed, and the throne of David shall be established forever. Okay, right. All right, hold on. It might be Samuel's, to be honest. I'm not sure. It might be Chronicles. It's in my notes. I'm being lazy. If I look at my notes. Wait. Hey, yes, I got it. And he did evil in the sight of the Lord and walked in the way. No. This ain't Solomon. Who's this? Yeah, so yeah, this ain't Solomon. All right, so let me see. There we go. Come on, man. Like, stop, bro. Stop. Just pure cap. And Solomon did evil inside. It's over. Once this word is attached to you, you're done. Like, come on. Look, for Solomon went after Ash. Look, why are we doing this? But King Solomon loved many strange, at the verse 1. But King Solomon loved many strange women. All right. Together, move this thing out my way. God damn, this is annoying. But King Solomon loved strange women, together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of Moabites. Now, we read earlier that the Lord says do not go into these two above all. Edomites, Zidonians, and Hittites. Of the nations concerned in which the Lord has said, do not go into them. See, neither shall they come into you, for surely they would turn away your heart. So don't do that, Solomon. But Solomon clave unto these in love. Okay, so as a result, Solomon, for it came to pass when Solomon was old, that his wives turned away his heart after other gods. That's the Ten Commandments. So he violated the 10 Commandments. And it says, as a result, Solomon did evil in the sight of the Lord and went not went not fully after the Lord as David his father did. So there, it was over. See, verse 9. And the Lord was angry with Solomon because his heart was turned from the Lord God of Israel, which appeared unto him twice. And he commanded him to don't do that, but he did it. And now watch this. Watch this. Wherefore the Lord said unto Solomon, for as much as this is done of thee, and thou hast not kept my covenant and my statutes, which I've commanded thee, I will surely rend the kingdom from thee and will give it to thy servant. Okay, come on, man. This is gone. Bye-bye, Solomon. This cat right here, this cat.
Hear that his kingdom would be the one that would be established forever. Like you said, it was conditional, which overall, I feel that it was the conditions were fulfilled because he wasn't a flat out wicked king. Even the Lord doesn't say that he was a flat out wicked king. We see all through, you have certain kings in the northern kingdom. He said he did wickedly in the sight of the Lord. He did wickedly in the sight of the Lord. The Most High was displeased with him. He did wickedly. You don't see that same thing for Solomon. So I would argue to say that he fulfilled what he needed to fulfill for this prophecy to be so, which is why I can go back to Matthew 1 and say, this is the lineage that, which is of Joseph, which is, which is the lineage of Christ, which is also the lineage of
are you on mute? Right. Hello?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, now I can't hear anything. Did you stop or were you on mute?
Yeah, no, I stopped. I said,
okay, I got it.
Okay, I'm going to say, yeah, the last thing that I said is, which is why I can sit here and I can argue to him being on, when he goes on to say that he established it forever. I can sit there and argue the case for him being the lineage that Christ actually came from.
Yeah, so I got more than one bullet point on why Matthews couldn't be the lineage. So the first bullet point was checking out. So that was just one. In the car now, got a hot cup with me. Let me see, because I need to read the Bible for this, because that's what you want. You want the verse, you want no damn story. So
right.
Let me up until that point. Let me see if I got a question for you or anything. No
problem. Okay. Yeah, I got about 12. I got about 10, 15 more minutes.
So let me say this. So of course, like you had questions for me because the church, pretty much I can't represent the church. The church has standard positions, right? And so I see Israel got standard positions, and I understand how some of you guys break stuff down. So, because I really didn't hear this part from the video of Truth Nation, so I asked you because you got to come across it. So when you read Matthew 1:18.
Right.
If you could go right there,
Give me a second.
that line, we could talk about that. And then that buy me time to get home and get to this Bible.
No problem. Matthew chapter 1, you said?
This is the right, because this is our go-to, and we hear a different in interpretation of this particular verse.
So now clearly, let me see, make sure I could be heard. Come on. Oh yeah, so now clearly I'm being nice and charitable to a brother because he's younger than me and I got a rule. I'll be nice to young brothers, especially well-mannered, like he appeared to be. So that's why I ain't go as hard as, I'm a sucker. I'm a sucker. Like if you're young, well-mannered, those type of things, and you're young, you know what I mean? Young dude, black dude, I can't go hard on you. So that's why you hear this demeanor, like where I'm just like subservient and shit.
So Matthew 1:18.
Okay. Give me a second. Chapter 1, verse 18.
But we're supposed to talk again sometime soon. Well, he said that. I don't know. He said it.
That's how you
Still,
finish
I'm
this
gonna be
verse.
more
Actually,
assertive.
home.
I'm still
No
respectful.
problem.
More assertive.
Matthew chapter 1 and verse 18, It says, now the birth of Jesus Christ was on this wise.
So when I go to Matthew 1 quickly like that, it's because I'm starting to get fed up with the BS.
When as his mother Mary was espoused to Joseph, before they came together, she was found with child of the Holy Ghost. Right.
So that's another bullet point of ours, the church, that would say this could not been the lineage of Jesus.
Right. Because I'm assuming you're saying that came together is before they lay down with each other.
Yes.
No problem. No problem. Okay, let me boom, screen share. Now, let me go back one. Okay, this is Blue Letter Bible, Matthew 1 and 18.
What you doing?
Matthew 1 and 18. Now the birth of Jesus was on this wise, when as his mother was espoused to Joseph, before they came together, she was found with child, right? So we get into the Greek, espoused to Joseph, they came together. Word that I want to look at right here, synerkomai, which is came together.
Yeah.
Right? Now, when we open this up, it says, here we go. To come together, to assemble.
Here we go.
Of conjugal cohabitation. To go, depart, or come with one to accompany one.
Look at this wordplay.
Here's the actual definition. That was the outline of biblical usage. Here's the definition. To convene, to depart in company with, associate with, or specially to cohabit conjugally, to accompany, assemble with, come together, come company with, resort. Now, to cohabit conjugally. What does it mean to cohabit with someone?
Off the top, I would say live.
And to live together, right?
Yes. You didn't come.
So
you
when we're talking about
Sunday,
to cohabit conjugally, we're talking about they hadn't moved in together as a married couple. Didn't mean they didn't do anything, but I don't know what your stance is, but when you read the Bible, there's no such thing as quote unquote sex before marriage. You don't see that in the Bible. If you lay down together, you guys are now married. That's called the consummation of the marriage. Now, when we read, the culture was, and we see it in Genesis chapter 2, a man must leave his house, must leave father and mother and cleave to his wife.
Yeah, I was watching Sunday TV today, and I caught the end of it, very end of it. And some guy named was the real black minister Jesus, but he was a Muslim. So if he could do that, okay, then I'm unbiased sports, the real Israelite.
Supposed to now establish his own family and his own house. So she was pregnant before their household was established, before they moved in together conjugally, meaning they moved together as a married couple. They hadn't had, because you don't subscribe to it, but it says it in the the book of Sirach. It talks about to keep an eye over it tells the father to keep an eye over your daughter, lest she become pregnant in your house. So
yeah, so this was a whole month ago. I started doing this debate thing 2 months ago, but I didn't really get much debates, right? So this might have been my second debate since coming back in this fight after like 8 years. So, and I realized the arguments are the counter arguments have evolved. Like this what he's saying, this wasn't, nobody was saying this 8 years ago. So I'm like, oh man, I just stepped into a ring of new stuff, new information, new counters, new, lies. Like, wow, okay. So it was a good learning experience. But because he asked me, I wasn't really that sure about Solomon. I wasn't that sure on anything really except for what I was reading. My script. I wasn't really sure on anything else. But everything else really didn't matter if my script is true, that all of his information before that didn't matter. Because if my script is true, that means that Joseph is not the father. And that's the whole point of us dialoguing. I'm arguing that Joseph is not the father. So in case you were wondering or were confused, every time I debate the virgin birth, my argument is always Joseph is not the father, the biological father. That's always that. Nothing else. Nothing more, nothing less. So if I'm able to prove that, debate's over, I won. Just that simple.
the Hebrew culture was very
Hey, what's up?
what's the word? Strict. The Hebrew culture was very strict. It was very
Since I never reads the Bible contradictions, some of them don't be contradictions, right? Maybe he knows that, maybe he doesn't. I don't know. If he could be trolling, just having fun. I don't know. Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe he's trolling, having fun with it, like knowing that they don't know.
looked down upon for someone to be in their father's house and be pregnant. The man that you're supposed
I don't even know how he got. See, I was so much an amateur at this point. I don't even know how he got to 18 and didn't read 16. Because the new me now, we'd be like, oh, brother, before we get there, let's read up to it. You dig? So the fact that I let him pull this off was let you know, like, I was my amateur's experience.
to be with is the one that's supposed to take you guys are supposed to move
are you
out.
saying,
Say it again.
Are you saying being pregnant without marriage or being married? Is it?
This is I'm actually live, but this debate's not live. This is like I think this was my early debates when I got back into the ring debating Israelites on the virgin birth. So this is a month ago. It says it right at the bottom. It says a month ago. Oh shit! Oops. All right. What? Really? Oh shit. Okay. God damn. Really? I hate this Mac bullshit. So yes,
Or being married is it pregnant, right?
Yeah, if they lay down together, they are married. But you didn't, as the scripture said in Genesis 2, separate from your family and establish your new household with your wife. And so Hebrew culture is very strict about that. And it's a lot of culture like the Latino culture and even Arab culture. They're like, my daughter doesn't leave my house until she has a husband. Now, the issue is if you've laid with someone and you have a husband and his stuff isn't established, or he doesn't have a household for you to come and move into, so you can now be a part of your new family. So it says she was pregnant or found with child before they lived together. It didn't say before they had sex. It said before they cohabitated conjugally, before they lived together as a married couple.
That's not the way I see that, as they're living together, because the construction will be laying down to have sex. So the way I see that they're living together, but they're not laying down to have sex right at that point, at that moment.
Yeah, but that's not what it says, because the actual Greek definition is to cohabit specifically.
Yeah, I think he's right. Well, like now looking back, I think I think he was more right about that, about living together, than what I'm saying. Because again, like I said, this is brand new information. I'm just back. I just got back in the game. But this doesn't prove anything that he's trying to prove Joseph is the father. This, whether he's right about this or not, it does not help his case at all.
To cohabit, and you can look up the definition for cohabit, meaning you
Yeah,
would have to live with this
Mayweather,
individual.
man, I watched about 3-4 rounds. I watched all that, and that young man, he beat the living crap out of him, man. He said his new name is right here. No, he said his new name is right there. That was funny as hell, bro. I commented on the video. It was very funny. He taught him a lesson, and that's pretty much what I do on this subject here. I debate these wicked Israelites. I'm like Mayweather versus that guy. Like, I could easily just play with you, or I can like really try to get you out of there. You know.
Share it. I'll see if I can pull it up and share it right now.
I'm home now. I'm gonna grab my laptop, and I'm gonna show you as much as possible because you.
Can you see my? Can you see my screen right here? Do you see the Google?
I was sick there. I got better, and then I think another kid got me sick. I was so mad, man. So whatever that bug was, I had to do it all over again. That was annoying.
Search that I just pulled up, or maybe let me see if I have to do a different screen share. New share. Maybe that's what I have to do. Oh no, you should still do it. Okay. So it says right here, to cohabit, to live together and have a sexual relationship. Now, this is where we get into the English definition, quote unquote, without being married, right? But we see the word, because in other words, according to today, if you're not married by the government, then you would just be cohabitating. But it says to live together and have a sexual relationship. So when we go back over here, before they came together, before they started to cohabit with one another conjugally, she was already pregnant, right?
I'm so glad he's yielding to the Strongs, because we supposed to debate Gentile Jew and Greek. Okay, carry on.
So when you look into Matthew 1:18, that's what it's referencing, because it even goes on to say, then Joseph, her husband, right? So we see that one of two things. She had either already been promised to this man, or she had already laid with this man, because that's what it means when we reference someone being that's fine. Reference someone being your husband or your wife. Sometimes it's before you lay together because you were promised, and then sometimes because you guys have already laid down together, right? I personally would hold to, because we see that she's already pregnant, I'm going to hold to that they had already laid down with one another, and she was promised to him. We already know that she was promised to him, because you can continue to read on, and it's like, okay, because it says, be not afraid to take unto Mary thy wife, blah, blah, blah. So we see that if they were moving righteously, he wouldn't have been, the father said, no, but I'm going to disobey the father and do this anyways. No. Hebrew culture is very strict in that regard. And then he would have to pay the shekels and blah, blah, blah. We see he didn't have to pay any shekels or anything like that. So clearly, or the damsel, what is it called? The dowry of virgins. So clearly this was something that the father was perfectly fine with. The issue was she's pregnant in her father's house, because before they came together, before they came to cohabit or live together, she was pregnant. So that's our understanding, because we see it right here in the scriptures, and all you have to do is simply go into the original text, which is the Greek, that talks about this this situation.
All right, so let me give you a counter argument that can't be true.
No problem.
Right, so first, I'm gonna bring you. I'm gonna bring you back to Matthew, because I'm glad we're able to go to Strong's, read the Greek, because I joined many Greek Facebook groups, and I've been learning Greek with the English, a little bit of Spanish also, and not just that, but I would say that I'm basic English grammar savvy. Okay, so there's a couple things that's looked past when we look at this English translated Bible. So the first thing that you need to know is that when it comes to verbs in Spanish and English, they're different. Spanish
Mhm.
has two different type of forms of to be. They got estar and to be. I mean, ser, right?
Mhm.
You got como estás and you got ella es. So both are conjugated forms of to be. You got,
Mhm.
but they're different in how they're spoken. So como está is how are you? That's conditional. And if I say she is tall, that's she is actually tall. Like that's not conditional, that's essential, right? So
Mhm.
that's Spanish. But Greek and English, their verbs are the same. So that means there's only one way to conjugate to be, and that's I am, she is, he is, and we are, they are. You know, so that's your present tense verb. So that's very important when you read this Bible because you'll see that they use present tense sometimes, sometimes past, sometimes futuristic, and sometimes you'll see a present participle. So I want to take you to Matthew's chapter 1. This is something that's missed a lot.
Mm.
Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen. Let me check this out. Okay, so we go to Matthew's. So I'm gonna read 2, 3, 5, and then to Jesus.
2, 3,
So
5. Okay, go ahead.
So when you look at Matthew chapter 1, it says Abraham begot Isaac. Who's Isaac's father? Abraham. How you know? Because he begot him. And then
Mhm.
it says Isaac begot Jacob. You can read it backwards, or you could say who. You can answer the question: Who begot Jacob? It was Isaac. Jacob begot Judas. Who's the father of Judas? Jacob. He begot him. And then you
Mhm.
got Judas begot Phares and Zara. Okay.
Right.
So when it comes to the male, the man is initiating the action. And
Mhm.
when it mentions the women in genealogy, she's the recipient of the action. So this is how we read. And Judas begot Phares and Zamar. Zara. Judas begot Zara. So the question would be, who did Judas beget? He begot Phares and Zara. And who is Phares and Zara of? They're of their mother Tamar. So the Bible shows you the man got the action, begot verb, and of is a preposition of belonging to. So Judas begot Phares and Zara, and Phares and Zara belonged to Tamar. So that's how that could be read. So verse 5, it says, and Solomon begot Booz of Rechab. So again, Solomon begot Booz, and who is Booz of? He's of his mother Rechab. Then it says, and Booz begot Obed. So Booz begot Obed, but Obed is of his mother Ruth. Then we go down to verse 6. And David the king begot Solomon, who's of Bathsheba. So Solomon's father is David because he begot him, and Solomon's mother is Bathsheba because he's of his mother. So if you look at verse 16, it's very interesting because it says, and Jacob begot Joseph, and actually the lineage stops right there. There's no more begetting. So it says, and Jacob begot Joseph, and then it explains who Joseph is, like his role. Joseph is the husband of Mary, and then it tells you about Mary of whom was born Jesus. So that's actually how I read. So look, so allow me to do this for you. Allow me to do this. Can I edit? God damn. I can't edit. Okay. They won't let me edit. So watch this. Come on. Won't let me edit. Come on. Come on. All right. You know what? Let me just insert another text box. I'm not going to fight with it. Okay. So we can see this right here. Jacob, matter of fact, I already got it somewhere here. It's right here. Okay. So the question would be, who begot? So this is the other bullet point, how this couldn't be Jesus' lineage, because nobody begot Jesus. It says, who begot Joseph? We know Jacob did because it says Jacob begot Joseph. Well, who's Joseph? Joseph, the husband of Mary. Who's Mary? Mary of whom was born Jesus. So like, that's exactly how it's read. So Joseph don't have any children at this point in his own lineage. So this is how we go back to Luke chapter 3 and say, okay, this must be Jesus' lineage and not through his mother Mary, her father. So basically it's Mary's father's lineage, and that's how Jesus is added to the offspring of David. It wouldn't be.
So question, who knows this? And what I mean by that is they both understand that Christ is the son or the lineage of God, right? That they're not, this isn't Joseph's son. They understand this, right?
Right. Jacob, Mary, and possibly Elizabeth and Zechariah. I'm not sure on that one.
Okay. Here's why I ask. Let's go back to Luke, and then I'm gonna log back in on my phone. I'm about to take my daughter to school. Let's flip over in the book of Luke, chapter 2.
Okay.
And we'll start at verse 45. And it says, and when they found him not, they turned back again to Jerusalem seeking him. This is after Passover. And it came to pass that after 3 days, they found him in the temple, sitting in the midst of the doctors, both hearing them and asking them questions. And all that heard him were astonished at his understanding and answers. And when they saw him, they were amazed. And his mother said unto him, Son, why hast thou thus dealt with us? Behold, thy father and I have sought thee sorrowing. So she's saying, me and your dad were looking for you, and you had us scared. He said unto them, how is it that ye sought me? Wist ye not that I must be about my father's business?
Right.
And they understood not the saying which he spake unto them. So my question is this. If they know that this is the Son of God, the angel already came to Mary and told her, what was up, what's supposed to be going on. When he said this, why are they both sitting there looking dumbfounded? Like, your father, what are you talking about? And then we see all throughout the scriptures that everybody supposed that this was, the actual son of Joseph. This was the popular opinion in that time, or the popular understanding is that, oh no, Joseph, your daddy's the carpenter Joseph, right? So how come even right here you have Joseph and Mary sitting there looking, flabbergasted, like, what your father's bit? What are you talking about? What, you told him to do something? I ain't told him to do nothing. But why is there confusion here? If they already knew his mission and they knew he was the Son of God.
Yeah. So
give me 1 second. I'm about to switch over right now.
Yeah. Okay, so let me go back up to 45. And when
No
they
problem.
found him not, they turned back again to Jerusalem seeking him. And it came to pass that after 3 days, they found him in the temple, sitting in the midst of the doctors. So Jesus so we're looking at Jesus is in the midst of doctors, and people are around, right?
Right.
Let me add you.
Let me mute this one.
Let me just fix your name.
No problem.
Okay.
All right. You can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, this is a good verse to bring out. I heard it before. I never really looked into it like that. So let me look into it now. And I'm not trying to be right on every point. You dig? If I got to get back to something,
No problem.
So let me see. So, and when they found him not, they turned back into Jerusalem seeking him. And it came to pass that after these days, okay, so Mr. Doctors both hearing them and asking questions. And all that heard him were astonished at his understanding and answers. When he saw him, they were amazed, and his mother said unto him, Son, why hast thou dealt with us? Behold, thy father and I have sought thee sorrowing. That's why I hate reading like the old English. I be trying to read the modern versions for modern English because I'll be kind of lost. I don't use thee in my everyday language. So it says, and he said unto them, how is it that you sought me? Wish you know that I must be my father's business. But we understood not what he was saying, which he spake unto them, and went down with them, and it came to Nazareth and was subject unto them. But his mother kept all these things in her heart, and Jesus increased in wisdom and stature and in favor. So just off the top, must be my father's business. I don't even know. That's something I got to look into a little further. Yeah, so that right there, I if I could just wing it, I would say maybe they forgot what he was supposed to, like his mission. I don't know. So I just wing it.
I would definitely say don't wing it.
Yeah, but I won't go too far. I'll leave it right there as in I'm not really sure. Like I said, I haven't really looked into that too much. But that's something for me, as I said before, when somebody brings something up that I'm not unaware of or I never really look into, I don't dismiss it. What I do is I go look at it later,
Right.
when we build again, I'll give you my thoughts, or I'll just let that go as that's just what it said. You dig?
Right. And that's respectable because I've heard many of people just sit there and whatever can come to their head to combat the conversation, they're gonna throw it out there. It can sound as dumb can be, but no, that's what I'm sticking to. No, you just don't understand. And so
Right? Yeah. I don't like that when people can't make sense of something. All of a sudden, the Holy Spirit, like, what you gonna let Catholic stuff? Yeah.
right.
So yeah, now I'll just leave it just like that. It said what it said, and I'm not sure exactly why it went that route. So I'll just leave it like that for me.
That's fair. But that and that's in addition to, like I said, we have come over to the side. We have a number of scriptures where it talks about him being of this particular lineage, and the Chronicle scripture is a big one because it says that Solomon. So my question is this: because this is something that I would like to know your thoughts on. Do you feel that Solomon fulfilled what he needed to fulfill as how would I say it, as king? Do you feel like Solomon was, hold on real quick, okay, do you feel that Solomon fulfilled?
All right, so let me answer the question. I was letting it play out. So now, of course, I won't be able to play all of this tonight because it's not too lengthy, but it's way lengthy for a commentary. So question. So Joseph isn't Jesus' biological father, but he is his father, correct? I am looking at this. Okay, so my position is Joseph is Joseph is Jesus' adopted father, right? What's that called? A stepdad? Yeah, he's a stepdad. So it says Mary and Joseph, or I'm reading Mongo slides. Mary and Joseph are married because she is with child, but the question is she married with him based because she was with? Yeah, exactly. Yep. So you read it exactly. And Mongo slide, I don't know if that answered all of your questions, but I will say this. I will say where I think you was going is what they missed, and they don't understand how powerful that is in far as a debate. Like that works for me 100%, and it does not work for them. Hold on. Okay. All right. Let me play.
Righteousness, or was he a wicked king in the eyes of God, or what do you feel about?
I'm on mute talking. So I hope I wasn't on mute when I answered that question about the father. Yeah. So my position is that I believe the Bible is telling me that Mary married Jesus and Jesus became the stepdad. I'm sorry, I'm bugging. Mary married Joseph and Joseph became a stepdad. So he's not a bloodline or seed sperm descendant of David. He was married in, which is just as good as anything else, right?
And I know other stories better, but I'm not the most. I'm not the most well versed.
What is it said in Baghdad? He said, is that Baghdad? It literally says Sinner Combine is a sex relation being spoken of. Where? Yeah, show me that. I want to see that. That might be something I could throw in. All right, so let me play. Yes, I'm letting the guy know at that time when I was debating him, if anything to do with Solomon, I'm not the guy. But here you go, right here. Solomon did evil in the sight of the Lord. So I'm guessing that the brother, I'm gonna give him benefit of the doubt. He didn't know.
In the eyes of God, or what was? Hold on, real quick. Okay. Do you feel that Solomon fulfilled righteousness, or was he a wicked king in the eyes of God, or what? What do you feel about that?
Yeah, I'm going to say I'm not the guy for Solomon. I got to look back.
But you guys are reading it
You
now,
know,
though.
I know other stories better, but I'm not the most. I'm not the most well versed right now on Solomon's plight. So I got to. That's some more homework I got to go back and do before I answer that question. But I do want to say, so yes, I'll get back to you on that. I'll get back to you on Luke chapter 2, verse 45 to 50 to 50.
But but yeah, well, that's easy. That's easy now, looking ahead. But you can see right now, Solomon did evil in the sight of the Lord. And the Lord did what? He told him, he said, verse 11, he said, wherefore the Lord said unto Solomon, for as much as this is done of you, and thou hast not kept my covenant and my statutes which I've commanded thee, I will surely rend the kingdom from thee and will give it to thy servant. So the Lord, seeing Solomon as being evil, and took the kingdom from him. So that answers the brother question today. Not
it was.
I wasn't sure.
So I got it. That's some more
information afterwards. I'm like, okay, cool, got him.
Homework. I got to go. Story's better, but I'm not the.
I would like to this because this is something that I would like to know your thoughts on. Do you feel that Solomon fulfilled what he needed to fulfill as how would I say it? As king, do you feel like Solomon was? Hold on, real quick. Okay. Do you feel that Solomon fulfilled righteousness, or was he a wicked king in the eyes of God, or what? What do you feel about that?
Yeah, I'm going to say I'm not the guy for Solomon. I got to look back. Or I know other stories better, but I'm not the most. I'm not the most well versed right now.
You can see right now what the conclusion was.
So I gotta just go ahead and do that and just do it. But
he was evil
from
here.
From Luke 2, verse 49, what he said about my father's business. So apparently it said that they didn't know what he was talking about. Mary kept it in her heart. So she kept it in her remembrance.
She thought about that. Yeah, she was like,
"Hey,
what does that mean? What is he talking about?"
So when I caught that debate with Mr. Morpheus and a real black minister Jesus, I missed the whole thing. I caught it about 7 something, and it was over at that point, and they just had all these guys on the panel. Yeah, at that time the debate was over, so I missed the whole thing.
And it said he increased with stature and favor God. But I will say this: so leading up to that, if we go all the way down to up when the verse starts, chapter 2. I'm sharing my screen, but you can't see it. But
so I got some stuff on
when we go. Nah, no, never mind. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave chapter 2 alone.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Now, again, when I got back into this, I was a baby. I couldn't answer these questions. It's easy to me now, looking back. Like that's an easy one to answer. When they try that. But that's why I asked the brother, like, hey, man, you want to, evolution. Your argument should strengthen over time. It shouldn't be the same or get weaker. Okay, so I'm nowhere near then like I am now. So I definitely know better. All right, so let me play.
No problem.
Yes, anyway, so let me jump somewhere. So now I do want to go back to Luke. I'm going to skip chapter 2. Yeah, I'm not as well versed on chapter 2 as I am 1 and 3.
No problem.
Chapter 3. So let me go to 3, and I'm gonna show you again that it's in the language, right? So
and I'm talking about well versed in 3. I wasn't even well versed in 3, maybe 1.
the thing about the genealogy of Jesus, like I said, it's very tricky because you really got to look at what's going on and look at. And by the way, I'm a chess teacher, so we teach patterns. We teach patience, discipline. We plan well, and I teach that for my little kids. Elementary kids. So, so I say that to say, chess is about planning, right? It's proper preparation to prevent poor performances. So I try to be prepared, right, always in advance before I get out there and start winging stuff. Now, I noticed the pattern in Matthew's: begot, Joseph, no begot. So then I said, okay, all right, maybe somebody can explain that, no problem. So I said, okay, let me go to Luke chapter 3. Now, here's the hidden gem that I believe that was in Luke that was missed, like I believe was missed in Matthew. Like the author is trying to tell us something and we're looking past it. So let me go to Luke. So Luke says a couple things here. So I'm going to go to, again, the words, right? Verbs, prepositions, those type of things. All right. So the words pretty much, if you hit the Strongs will agree. And I don't mind you reading from Wisdom of Solomon because I don't believe they debunk me. I believe they go along with the Bible, like the standard King James. So that's why I don't mind when somebody bring up apocryphal book because in my mind, like, that's just going to further stamp me. So in Luke 3:23, it says, in Jesus himself, he began to be about 30 years old. Okay, whatever that means, began to be. So it says, being as was supposed the son of Joseph, which was the son of Eli. So now I can just do this, which I won't. I can say, brother, your own camp taught you as was supposed means the, father, like he was thought to be the son of God. That's the people's perception because they were not privy to the conversation with the angel. And I could say Nathaniel 7, I see, hey guys, I don't got to prove anything. It's not on me. Your doctrine says it. So, but I won't do that. I'll just go ahead and tell you what I got. So it says, Jesus. So if we just read it like this, at the age of 30, Jesus being the son of Joseph. So when I'm talking to people in Bible class and when I travel to different Bible study groups, or online Zoom meetings, I would say, okay, it says Jesus, and let's even omit what's supposed, because ISPK would say, nah, that ain't supposed to be there at all. No, I don't want to deal with that. Screw the Strong's number. Okay, fine. So we're not going to be going to read suppose. We're just going to say at the age of 30, Jesus was being the son of Joseph. And then it says, which was the son of Eli, which was. So I would say, just like Matthew's, begot, of, that's the pattern. Here, the pattern is which was. But when it's dealing with Jesus, it's always, the language always changes. It don't say Jesus, which was the son of Eli or Joseph. It says Jesus being the son of Joseph. So I would ask people in my studies, what does that mean, being the son of Joseph? Okay, so if I say, then I would say, what is the difference of he is a doctor and he is being a doctor? That's rhetorical. So I would answer that because on Halloween, you are being Iron Man. You are being a witch. You are being things. You're not that. Now, when it says he is, that's equal. So the word is analogous with equals. So if I say she is tall, she's tall. But if I say she's acting tall, she got stilts, she's on somebody's shoulders, she's behaving in a way where it appears that she's tall. So the proof of that is, and you can confirm this later, when you're dealing with verbs, like I said, this is kind of my area, verbs. Being is a conjugated form of to be as well. But the thing about he is, I am, they are, those are present tense verbs. Being is not. Being is a present participle, which sometimes act as a gerund. So it's kind of confusing, but this is the only verb that can act as a noun, the being verb. So human being, human being, that's the whole thing is a noun. But let me say this though, without confusing anybody. Swimming is a verb because you're doing something, but it acts as a noun because when somebody says swimming, you envision somebody's in the water and there's something going on. So there's a movement. So that's the noun. You think somebody's in the water swimming. The action just can't happen without some type of human or some type of intervention. So driving can't happen unless somebody's in the car. Singing can't happen unless somebody's actually doing that. So it's a verb that acts like a noun. But let me get to where I'm going. So it's a noun, it's a verb that acts like a noun, but it's temporary. So if I'm swimming, at some point I'm going to stop. If I am driving, if I'm singing, at some point, common sense say I'm going to stop at some point. If I'm being the son of Joseph, at some point I'm going to stop. But when it says which was, that's just who you was. When it says you are, that's who you are now. So was is past tense. So when it says which was the son, that's who these people were in the past. And if it says you are or she is, that's who you are right now. And if it says you will or shall, that's the future. But being in this continual sense is something that's temporary. I could say, Darash, why are you acting like that? So being is another way to say acting and behaving. Look how this works. I could say, man, I was with Darash and he was acting nervous. I could take out acting and say he was behaving nervous. I could take that out. I could say he's being nervous. So that's all a conditional tense, right? That's just for right now. That's not who you are. But if I describe your character and I say Darash is nervous or like he's a nervous person, that's who you are from conception. So, and that would be essential. So if I say he is black, that's who you are essentially. But if I say he's acting black, that's just who you are right now, and you're going to go back to normal. It's going to stop. So it says Jesus being the son of Joseph. That being is what he is behaving like right now, and it's going to stop. But everybody else, which was all the way to Adam, it says Adam, which was the son of Joseph. Which was the son of God. So that's the short form, for the sake of time. So there are the language there when it comes to Jesus, it always switches in his genealogy to show the readers something's different going on with this guy. That everybody else, it seems more consistent. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm done. So how would you respond to that?
Okay. So, depending on the context, being can mean acting and it can not mean acting. What do I mean by that? Because if I'm being nervous and I'm actually nervous and you see my state, my state of being, that is physically, literally what I am at that moment. I don't have to act like I'm nervous, because when you're acting like you're nervous or when you're acting like something, you're pretending. If I'm actually nervous and you see my state of being as nervous, that is not the same thing as me acting as if I'm nervous. Those are two different things. So I would disagree with you there. And then now it would lead me to my question, because in some instances, you can use them synonymously, and in some instances you can't. So it just depends. So I don't know how you would come to the conclusion with this particular situation to say he's acting as the son of Joseph. Yeah. But if that's where you stand, you also said, it's just right now, but it will stop. So now my question is, at what point did it stop? When he died? Was it during his ministry? Okay. At what point did he stop, being the son of Joseph?
Okay, so good question. So now let me respond to what you just said. So maybe I left this out. So when somebody's acting crazy, acting nervous, brother, that's the person's perception. It's not a fact. So that's what I mean by behaving like that, acting like that. So when somebody says Darash is being or acting or behaving, that's their personal assumption or assessment on you. Like a cop could say, well, he was acting weird or he was a danger to my life. That's the cop's perception on the brother. That's not a fact. So again, that's the ing.
Well, it is if you are clearly, if we're in front of someone and you can see that I'm sweating, you can see that I'm jittery, so on and so forth, and you can also confirm by asking me, like, yeah, he was being nervous because he was nervous.
Okay.
So it depends on the context.
Here's the pushback.
Go ahead.
Here's the pushback. Again, when you look at being the present participle, it usually have a time frame somewhere in the sentence. So this is how you know that this is true with Jesus. It's gave him a time frame. He started being like the son of Joseph, like it's saying in front of people, like I guess dressing like him, doing the thing Joseph did to carry out the whole act of I'm the son of Joseph. Okay, so it said Jesus himself at the age of 30, starting his ministry. That's the time frame where he started to behave, act like he's the biological son of Joseph. So, and it's during his ministry because he didn't want to be. He kept telling his disciples, "No, not right now."
So are you saying that before he wasn't? Because we read when he was a child that, you know, your father and I, we were seeking you, and he said, "Well, why were you looking for me? Don't you know I need to be about my father's business?" Like literally,
right.
He was a child at that time. So he did. So did he only start being the
No,
son of Joseph?
No,
when he started
you heard
ministry?
it. No, he said it. He said, "Why are you looking at me? I'm being about my father's business. I'm not acting like I'm doing Joseph's business at this point. It'll come a later time when I do that, and that's at the age of 30. But right now,
That's conjecture because you don't see that in the scripture. that's a stretch.
So we do know he said that, and his mother did not understand what he was saying.
Absolutely.
Right. So when he said that, that was not clear. That she's like, "What the hell are you talking about?" So and then she held on to it. So she didn't.
So wouldn't he still be about his father? Well, he's more about his father's business in his 30s because that's when the ministry starts, and that was his father's business. But the other thing about his father's business, he first had, because remember we read in the scriptures, it says that the child waxed strong in the spirit. So all of this stuff wasn't just given to Christ. It wasn't like he once he came out the womb he knew everything or he was a wise teacher. It said he had to grow
tutors
in the spirit.
He had tutors. Yeah, right. So things.
Right.
Right.
So I'm saying that to say, he, at 12 years old, he was about his father's business. At 30 years old, 33, when he had gained the wisdom that he needed to start fishing and start gathering souls, he was still about his father's business. So why is it that he was? What do you mean that, at 33, that's when he started being the son of Joseph? Everybody understood him to be the son of Joseph before that.
Okay, because he's about to start doing miracles and perform healings, and he doesn't want to be rooted out right away as the Christ. So this is why people were confused. Like, how is this guy?
But people asked him, like John. And John, he told John, he said, "Well, you see everything that I'm doing, right?"
Just 1 second.
Go ahead.
If Jesus don't remind people and establish that he's the son of Joseph and he does his miracles, then it's more believable he's the Messiah. Like what everybody's saying about him. But the people were confused because they was like, "Yo, he's doing messianic things, but this cannot be him because he's from Nazareth and he's Joseph's son." So the people were confused. Like, how is he's doing messianic things? So we kind of believe him, but then we can't believe him because he's Joseph's son.
So my question is this, right? When people asked him, what did he say?
He said, "I know he referred himself as to the Son of Man a lot."
He did. But I'll give you an example. John had disciples. When John's disciples asked him, what did he say?
They said Elias, they said John the Baptist, they said the prophet, Deuteronomy 18:18.
No. So two things. One, that's not what they said. He asked Peter that, and Peter said, "Some say this, some say that." He said, "What say you?" And he said, "I say you're the Christ." And so he said, "All right, cool."
The son of God, not Joseph, right? He said the son of the living God.
Right now, but remember, John the Baptist. John the Baptist had followers that went to him and said, "John wants to know, are you him that was sent?" He said, "Go back to John and tell him you see all of these miracles and everything that was done. So you can come to your own conclusion." Basically, he confirmed John's suspicion.
No.
So
he did not confirm. He was saying, use your, like you just said, go do your own due diligence and come back and let me know who you think.
He said, "You see everything that I'm doing."
See, but look,
right?
look.
But I'm saying that to say, real quick, I'm saying that to say he never denied it. So with everyone saying, "Oh, with all these miracles, but isn't this the son of Joseph?" He never denied that he was the son of God. He never denied that he was the Messiah.
But they didn't conclude that. They said he was Elias, John the Baptist, and the prophet of the old days.
He said some. He said some. Some said, some said, and some said. Right.
All right. Oh yeah, but we got three choices. We got A, B, and C. Multiple choice there. None said the Son of God. So when they went back and did, so when Jesus put them to task to look at my miracles and come back and assess me, they came back with, so they did that. And they came back with John the Baptist, they came back with Elias, and that prophet of Deuteronomy 18.
Give me like 30 seconds. I'm about to
Yeah.
my daughter to school. Give me a second.
Let me. Yeah. He's around 30. What the hell? Oh man. Yeah, so I gotta really get my Solomon information back up. Like, damn, like I only know like the like the mainstream stories about Solomon. I gotta get back and go back and read what King Solomon was about, because I if it ain't mainstream like talking books and stuff, I'm not gonna be able to tell you much about King Solomon. So I gotta definitely go back and read up on Solomon.
All right. I'm back.
Yeah. So you said what you said, and I'm adding to it. Jesus asked them to go back and look at what I've done before you, and then come back and assess who I am. I don't need to tell you, because the Bible says 2 or 3 witnesses got to testify anyway. So he's not just going to say I am so and so. You need 2 or 3 witnesses to confirm that. So you guys go back and consider what I've done before you, and come back and tell me who I am. And they did that, and they came back and said, okay, you must either be Elias, you must either be John the Baptist, or you must either be. So they upgraded from the son of Joseph. Like this is a clear upgrade. So they said, okay, now you're not the son of Joseph. You must be Elias, John the Baptist, or the prophet Moses spoke about in Deuteronomy 18.
Okay. So let me see. Let's go here really quick. So I'm gonna read John 3 and 1. I'll start there. It says, there was a man of the Pharisees named Nicodemus, a ruler of the Jews, right? This is just to establish who he's talking to. So I want to drop down. Nicodemus was asking, actually, let's read verse 2. The same came to Jesus by night and said unto him, Rabbi, we know thou art a teacher from God, for no man can do these miracles that thou doest except God be with him. Jesus answered and said unto him, verily, verily, I say unto thee, except the man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. So now I'm going to drop down to verse, give me a second, verse 17. For God sent not his son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. Verse 18. He that believeth on him is not condemned, but he that believeth not is condemned already, because he have not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of God. So we see, excuse me. So we see that he had established who he was to a number of people. He's talking to Nicodemus, which is a Pharisee right now, which wasn't a part of his disciples, and neither the 12 apostles or the other 73 or 74 disciples. But this was, just an individual who was coming to learn from him. So there was times where he neither confirmed nor denied. There was other times where he actually established, yeah, this is what it is. Even with Pontius Pilate, he didn't deny with Pontius Pilate. He said, are you the Son of God? He said, hey, thou said it, you said it. So his thing was what we read all through the scriptures, about Christ. Christ always used the understanding of the scriptures and the prophets to speak to the people. Christ also had a very humble spirit. Yeah. So it wasn't really mandatory, for lack of better words, for him to have to sit up there and establish who he was. People saw what he did and people knew who he was. So going back to my point earlier, when he was 12 years old and about his father's business, everybody, including Joseph and Mary, was like, this my son. What is his father's bit with? I didn't tell him to do nothing. Then when he established his ministry, and he's still being about his father's business, because early on he was doing things in phases. So at 12 years old, he's still learning. That's why he's sitting inside of the temples with the doctors, which are the Pharisees, the scribes, the Levites, so on and so forth, gaining this wisdom and understanding as he continued, as the scriptures say, to wax, which means become, wax strong in the spirit. Then he got to the point where it was time for him to go out and do his ministry. He was still the son of God, but everyone still saw that he was the son of Joseph. Nothing ever changed. At no point in the scriptures did anyone deny that he was the son of Joseph. Did he deny that he was the son of Joseph? Did Joseph deny that he was the son of Joseph? That Joseph even was like, I don't want to talk about it. It was none of that, because even when everyone's walking around saying this is Joseph, this is excuse me, ain't you the son of Joseph? When we read the scriptures, everyone looks at it and says, well, Mary was pregnant. Joseph was like, oh, yo, like, you pregnant and we didn't lay together. At some point, either Christ or Joseph, maybe even Mary, you know, when Joseph got of that age, that was a conversation that could have been had anywhere in the scriptures, but they never had that conversation. And in fact, there was confusion when Christ referenced his father or referenced his father's business, and he wasn't referring to Joseph specifically. But we do see all through the scriptures that Christ was the son of God. Nobody's going to argue that. But we also see that, you know, people like Adam was the son of God. We look at Enoch, which was the son of God. That whole lineage were, you know, sons of God.
No, the Bible says that he chose them. Okay, so now listen.
That's what made them sons, because we read that in Romans 8 as well.
Again, good. So you agree with the adoption thing? Exactly. That's right. So you could be adopted into the lineage.
You what do you mean? You can't be adopted into a lineage.
Yeah.
You don't read that anywhere in the scriptures.
Yes, we do. But again, it's about
you were supposed to pull that up. You never did.
Yeah, I got you. Well, because you want to listen. Look, so I see a few things, I make some points, and then you flow, right? You flow, and you be making, you know, you bring out good verses, you flow. I haven't flowed yet, right?
You did. The whole time, the whole 15 minutes I was driving to, 12 out of 15, because I started speaking when I was 2 blocks away. The whole time I was driving my daughter, you spoke the whole time. You can go back and listen to it. It was for
no, but that wasn't
of 10 minutes.
Right, but I was focusing on something in particular. Like I showed you the difference in genealogy of Matthew and Luke, but I didn't flow because we addressed Matthew's right away and we addressed Luke right away. I'm saying flowing where I bring out multiple scriptures, and like you just did, where I could tell like a storyline and then stop. Right. So that's what
that's what you was. Okay, we'll go. Well, I'm allowing you to go ahead and flow and bring out somewhere in the scriptures to deal with someone being able to be adopted into a particular tribal lineage.
So this is what I'm gonna do.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna try to, as much as possible, bring out everything. Okay.
No problem.
Is that cool? Okay. So let me see where I want to start from. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. So the law in Deuteronomy 25:5.
Mm-hmm.
If brethren dwell together and one of them die and have no child, the wife of the dead shall not marry without unto a stranger. Her husband's brother shall go into her and take her to him to wife, and perform the duty of an husband's brother. Verse 6 is important. And it shall be that the firstborn which she beareth shall succeed in the name of the brother which is dead. So the dead brother has no seed. He has no biological offspring. She sleeps with his brother, like Nathan and Solomon, 2 different trees. She sleeps with his brother. And according to the law in the Bible, that firstborn has the right to the dead brother's lineage. And that's not his lineage. That's not his son at all. That's an adopted son. He was adopted to the lineage. This is Jewish law.
I'm letting you flow.
Okay.
I didn't want to jump in.
All right. So her firstborn, the law is her firstborn, she's supposed to dedicate it to the brother who's dead that has no relation with that kid at all. No seed. You want to say seed? No seed relations at all to that kid. But that kid
takes on the heir of whatever he left. So that brother, and then when that kid have kids, that kid's generation will have no ties to their father, to their adopted father. At that point, it'd be adopted father because he has no blood relationship to that kid, no seed, no gene, none of that, no sperm. So he'll be adopted father. But all those kids that have no relation to that, no direct relation to that brother, are heirs to his genealogy and whatever he in his possessions. Okay. So when we look at so now here's another example of that. Okay, if you look at Numbers, and I'm showing my screen. If you look at Numbers chapter 26:33, and it said, and Zelophehad had no sons but daughters. So this is Numbers chapter 26 verse 33. And Zelophehad had no sons but daughters, and the names were Mala, Noah, Hagla, Milcah, and Tirzah. The next chapter, first verse. Then came the daughters of Zelophehad. So his daughters are coming somewhere. They stood before Moses by the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, saying, our father died in the wilderness, okay, and had no sons. Okay, so our father died and had no sons. Let me just make that bold because I almost skipped that. Because when I do my notes, I like to highlight to show to set apart from other verses. So it said, so she said, our father had no sons. Why should the name of our father be done away from among his family? So they're showing that when the father has no sons, the lineage stops there. And that's what I'm saying about the last one I just read, the law 25 Deuteronomy and Matthew's genealogy. The lineage stopped with Joseph. Okay, so it says, why should the name of our father be done away with from among his family? Because he had no son. Give us unto therefore a possession among the brethren of our father. So we see somebody being adopted in place of somebody who was rightfully deserving. And Moses brought their cause before the Lord. And the Lord spake, saying, the daughters of Zelophehad speak right. Thou shalt cause the inheritance of their father to pass unto them. And then he made that the standard law from then on. Let me go to, okay. Now, this might be the best example. Let me make sure this is it. Shoot. Yeah. Okay, this is the best example. This is First Chronicles chapter 2. Now, this is everything I read to you. This is the one you might want to jot down out of everything. This is a game changer. This is First Chronicles chapter 2. It said, these are the sons of Israel. This is Judah. This is Judah's genealogy. First Chronicles chapter 2, verse 1. It says, these are the sons of Israel: Reuben, Simon or Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Dan, Joseph, Benjamin, Naphtali, Gad, Asher. And it said, and Boaz begot Obed, Obed begot Jesse, Jesse begot his firstborn, Eliab, and Abinadab the second, and Shema the third, so on and so forth. But King David was the seventh son, or seventh, either son or seventh kid. So it said, now Sheshan had no sons but daughters. So now the next person had no, or not next person, but in that, I ain't gonna say next. So I went from 15 with David being the seventh, and then I stopped there. I went down to begot, all the way to 34. So let me not act like this is the first verse. This is 19 verses down, where we see the next guy, Sheshan, because he had a father, his father had a father, but Sheshan had no sons. He only had daughters like the last guy. And Sheshan had a servant, an Egyptian, whose name was Jarha. So he had no male offspring to continue lineage, just daughters, and he had an Egyptian male servant. Look what he did. And Sheshan gave his daughter to Jarha, his servant, to wife, and she bare him a tie. So now his daughter, and women don't have any natural rights to the heirs of the fathers, it's the sons. So this woman, the daughter, was able to marry a straight up Gentile father. So now that Gentile had that baby with that woman, we talk about the seed. That's not the seed of
What
Judah.
verse are you at? First Chronicles
This is
2 and what?
34.
Okay.
So 35 shows that Sheshan gave his daughter to Jarha, his servant to wife, and she bare him Attai. And then get what? The lineage continues. So there was a disconnection. A Gentile was added to the lineage of Judah. And matter of fact, if you read the first chapter, it'll tell you that this is the lineage of Judah, or the Israelites. So it says, so the daughter who's not supposed to be, is not supposed to be in the genealogy, because people say Mary can't be there. Really? Well, that's not Jewish custom, because we see the daughters are added to the genealogy, and she's allowed to have sex with a Gentile, and that baby continues the lineage of Judah. So it says they bear the son Attai, and then Attai begot Nathan, and Nathan begot, and then the whole lineage of Judah continues from a Gentile and a daughter. That's being adopted to the lineage. So now, when we go from there, where am I going to go next? When we go from there, see what okay, so now I want to bring things back into context, right? Because the virgin birth is Matthew. Oh, I got one more. I got one more. I'm sorry. I got one more example of somebody being adopted into Israel that's not of Israel. So let me just stop sharing my screen. I'm gonna go back to the Bible. I'm gonna show my King James Bible. Give me 1 second to just do this real fast. I think it's in the book of Ezra. Let me just make sure. I think it's Ezra 8, actually. Ezra, come on. Let me share my screen again. Okay, so I'm gonna go to Ezra. Yeah, I used to know all the Bible books in chronological order. I'm falling off now. So now, okay, I think of Ezra. I made that my business to know all the verses. All the books. Me and my boys, I used to keep him sharp. Like, I'll ask him, go ahead, and he's a recital. Okay, so let me go. Okay, let me just get there real fast. Let me just make sure this is it. Let me just. Is it Ezra or is it? Let me see. There we go. There we go. Oh, I got it wrong. It's not Ezra. See, the names, the women names be killing me. It's Esther. Okay. So let me share my screen again. This is Esther. We're going to go to chapter 8. Esther chapter 8. 8. Okay. Let me start from verse 1, and I'm going to read. I'm going to just give some context. On that day that the king of Ahasuerus give the house of Haman, the Jews enemy until Esther the queen. And Mordecai came before the king, for Esther had told what he was unto her. And the king took off his ring. I'll put my nose. Okay, and the king took off his ring, which he had taken from Haman, and gave it to Mordecai. And Esther sent Mordecai over the house of Haman. And Esther spake yet again before the king, and fell down at his feet, and besought him with tears to put away the mischief of Haman the Agagite, and his device that he had devised against the Jews. So we see that he has something against the Jews. And the king held out the golden scepter toward Esther. You still there? He probably fell off. But I'll keep reading it. Okay, he's coming back.
My bad. I accidentally, I was on my phone and I accidentally swiped the Zoom.
Yeah, my phone, I have a problem talking to my phone. That's why I was kind of hoping it didn't have these problems. But mine's I either mute myself by mistake or it bangs on people. It's just a cheap phone, so it keeps
right. No, that's all good. I was like, what happened? Like it just went quiet. I said, oh damn, I accidentally swiped out of the Zoom, so I tried to get back in. But no,
okay.
I heard you reading. You got to the point where it referenced Haman as the Agagite.
Yeah. So then it says, I'm trying to say this. Okay, yeah, I can read this. And it said, if it please the king, and if I have found favor in his sight, and the thing seem right before the king, and I be pleasing in his eyes, let it be written to reverse the letters devised by Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite. Now I'm coughing. Which he wrote to destroy the Jews, which are in all the king's provinces. So this is for a brother that I spoke to, and he thought the word Jew was New Testament only. And I told him that there's Jews in the Old Testament. So this is just for him. Like, no, the Jews will definitely be Old Testament. So because people read Revelation 2 and 9, and I heard people say, "See, who called himself the Jews? It's the white man." Like, okay, then everybody in the Old Testament were white, I guess, because we see Jews here. So anyway, which he wrote to and the Apostle Paul called himself a Jew. You know, so which he wrote to destroy the Jews, blah, blah, blah. For how can I endure to see the evil that should come to my people? Or how can I endure to see destruction of my kindred? Then King Ahasuerus said unto Esther the queen and to Mordecai the Jew, behold, I have given Esther the house of Haman, and him they have hanged upon the gallows because he laid his hate upon the Jews. So write ye also for the Jews, as it liketh you in the king's name, and seal it with the king's ring. For the writing which is written in the king's name is sealed with the king's ring. May no man reverse. Okay, cool. So and all was written according to all that Mordecai commanded to the Jews. I'm skipping into the lieutenants, blah blah blah, and the rulers of the provinces which are from India to Ethiopia, and 120 of 7 provinces. And then it says, and unto every people after their language, and to the Jews according to their writing, according to the language. So we're dealing with different people, different provinces, not just Jews. He said, and he wrote to the king, seal it with a ring, blah, blah, blah. That's not where I'm going to go. So the copy of the right, so just writing, no reversal, mules. Okay, now 15. And so after all that was said, and Mordecai went out from the presence of the king in a royal apparel of blue and white, and with a great crown of gold, and with a garment of fine linen and purple. And the city of Shushan rejoiced and was glad. The Jews had light and gladness and joy and honor. And everyone, and in every province, so everything we just named earlier, Ethiopia, this place, it says, and in every province and in every city, whithersoever the king's commandment and his decree came, the Jews had joy and gladness and feast and a good day. And many of the people of the land became Jews, for the fear of the Jews fell upon them. So if they're not from the tribe of Judah, naturally, they're from somewhere else. How would they become Jews if there's no adoption? And how do you just snap become a Jew?
You I can respond.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I wanted to make sure that I don't want to break your chain of thought. Okay, no problem. When you go to the law, right, you see in the law that it talks about there is one law for the stranger, one law for the Israelite, right? So when you ask how does one become a Jew, it's very simple. Their DNA does not change and they all of a sudden become a Jew, because to say I'm an Israelite or I am a Jew is to say that I am the seed or descendant of Jacob. You cannot physically change your DNA to be a Jew. When they're referencing what in the book of Esther talking about becoming a Jew, they're talking about conversion. They converted to the customs of the Jews. It says for the fear, right? And it said for the fear of the Jews fell on them. So remember, initially, if you read the whole book of Esther, because that's where we get the holiday known as Purim. When you read the book of Esther, the book of Esther speaks about Haman, who wanted to kill the Jews because Mordecai refused to bow to him. Haman ended up being put to death because Esther was one of the wives of Ahasuerus. Esther then, which is what we just read, asked Ahasuerus, can we please put out a letter? Because Haman put out a decree that all the Jews to be killed. Can you put out a decree that all the Jews can fight back and kill these individuals who are trying to kill them? Ahasuerus put that out. They all found out, and then they found out, damn, these Jews are going around killing all these people that are trying to kill them. I don't want no problems with them. Clearly, it's something special about them. I'm going to convert to what they believe. I'm going to believe in their God. I'm going to try to follow their God. They converted to being Jews. Their DNA didn't change. So no, they were not adopted. They converted to the practice of keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. We read that in Genesis, where even Abraham had servants that followed God as Abraham did. We read that when we left out of Egypt, every single Egyptian didn't die. Some of the people cleaved to us because they saw the Lord was with us, but they were mandated to keep the same customs and everything we were keeping.
Yeah.
So with that being said, they essentially, quote unquote, converted because they had fear of our God. So I'm not arguing that. My question was, and I still don't believe if we flip over to First Chronicles, I don't believe that whole chapter, because we have seen in a number of books where there'll be a specific topic or it's talking about something specific, and then there will be a shift. I do believe when you start off reading First Chronicles chapter 2, it's going into the sons of Israel. It goes into Judah. Then it goes into speaking on, we get to the point where Shishan, I think it was called, or yeah. He had a daughter. He had no sons. He died, he gave his daughter to Jara. And then it goes on to talk about the lineage of Jara. I'm not arguing that. I didn't argue that. But as you continue to read on, it doesn't then finish off and say, and these are all the sons of Judah at the end of the chapter. It doesn't say that. It went on to speak about the sons of Jara. I don't argue that, but I'm not going to sit here and say that because we read it through this chapter. Look, nope. So this is talking about Jara being now grafted in as a Judite. I don't see that in the scriptures. Now, when we get into the daughter who gained the inheritance, excuse me, my whole point was, you don't read, because even when you go to the book of Numbers and you read that scripture, it never said that this woman's, or these women rather, these women's lineage would continue through them or anything like that. It's talking about an inheritance, because remember, you needed a son, because especially a firstborn son would gain your inheritance, which was your plot, your land, right? So he didn't have any sons, but they went and pleaded in front of Moses to say, well, we should still be able to get an inheritance. So they allowed the women to have an inheritance. Nowhere did their lineage switch. Did they get married and now they're Judah? They got married and now they're Reuben. We don't see any of that. Their lineage, their DNA is still their DNA. When we talk about the duty to a husband's brother, we see the same situation with Ruth and Boaz, the nearest of kin, because your brother has almost the exact same DNA as you. When you lay down with this particular woman, you guys essentially have the same last name. That's the same lineage as your father, right? So you guys are all coming from that child's grandfather, which would be your father. So it still is this particular lineage. Now, here's the thing. These weren't different tribes. That's what I'm saying. It didn't just switch over to a whole another tribe, because I asked you, and you can go back and listen to it. I asked you if you can show me in the Bible where an individual's tribal lineage switched based off of being grafted in or being adopted or being married. You don't see anyone's tribal lineage being switched. Yeah, and that was the point that was being made, right? So now when you read, we can jump back over to the whole Immaculate Conception situation. When you read First Chronicles, it said that Solomon would be the one whose lineage will be established forever. Then you also see in the prophecies, it says David's throne will be established forever. Well, we know it's talking about David's throne through his descendancy, through his progeny. Then it goes on to specify that it has to be Solomon, through Solomon's progeny. And we know that Christ came down that line through Matthew 1, which was also Joseph's lineage, because it also says these are the generations of Jesus Christ. This is Jesus Christ's pedigree. Then you flip over to Luke. It also talks about this was the son of Joseph, as was supposed this. I'm more inclined to hold to Matthew, even if we say Luke is Mary's pedigree, that's perfectly fine. Mary's lineage doesn't go down the kingly line. And as I said earlier, when we talk about the Coniah situation, the Lord held true to that point, because in the time of Coniah, we went to the Babylonian captivity and the throne was in fact removed. But Coniah was the one whose line, because you don't read about those particular individuals in Luke, but you read about those particular individuals in Matthew. And so in Matthew, it talks about Solomon begat such and such, begat such and such, begat such and such. And then he gets all the way down to Christ. Verse 1 also says this is the lineage or the generations of Christ. And it's hard to argue that because it's right there. Christ is our king to be, which the scepter shall not depart from Judah. We read that way back in Genesis. And the scepter didn't depart from Judah. The king, what would you call it? The throne had been taken down because we no longer had a kingdom, but it still had to come down this particular line through the line of the kings. And if it doesn't come through Solomon, God is a liar. And we see that Luke chapter 3 does not touch on Solomon. So God will not be God, because God is a man that he should not lie. And I am the Lord, I change not, in Malachi. And he said it would come through Solomon. Luke 3 doesn't touch the lineage of Solomon. Matthew 1 does. So that would be all the arguments. The First Chronicles 2, I dealt with that. The daughter's inheritance, which is not switching over, because you were talking about adoption, does not switch over your tribe, does not change your DNA, does not change who you are. You've only adopted the customs. And then the duty to a husband's brother, nobody disagrees with that. But again, they already have the same DNA.
Yeah, but like you said, it switches though, because Solomon and Nathan have same DNA, and as we both agree, it's not the same. It's a total different lineage from Solomon down to Nathan down. Because like you said, because if that's true, then Jesus fits both. If he's from Nathan, so both genealogy.
What do you mean? What do you mean Jesus fits both?
Okay, meaning that you could choose any genealogy, because again, so we can't have it both ways. It's either the man himself, it got to come from his loins and his descendants, or it could come from his brother. Because if it could come from his brother, like the law Deuteronomy 25, then that means Jesus could also come through Nathan, that still fulfill the scriptures. So it's either one or the other. It got to come through one guy and his descendants, or it could come through his brother.
Well, the issue is this: you don't read anywhere where Nathan was supposed to be king. So when we're reading about, again, and you can look at this in any culture when we're talking about the kings, there's a specific son that gets chosen. This son was already chosen. So it'd be different if he died and then maybe Nathan picked up the throne after he died. That didn't even happen. He lived he fulfilled his kingship. He then had a son, who then had a son, who then had a son.
So let me say this: just like you have with many people in the Bible, there's covenants with certain people. This was an agreement that the Most High made with King Solomon.
Yes.
Okay. Right. And King Solomon did some wicked things, and things changed. In the New Testament, you don't read the word Solomon one time outside of that genealogy. It's the descendants of Abraham, the descendants of King David, the offspring, the seed. Romans 1 and 3. You're not going to read anywhere in the New Testament, anywhere, where it says Jesus will come through the seed of Solomon. Nowhere. It's going to.
You don't have to. You see it in the prophecies. So it doesn't have to be said. Hold on. It doesn't have to be said in the New Testament, because it's already said in the prophecies. Okay. And the prophecies are eschatological, meaning it's about the end times. It's about the latter times. So I don't have to reiterate it in the New Testament, because you also see in the prophecies that it says David's throne will last forever. Then areas it says Solomon's. So it's saying that he's of the seed of David. No one's arguing that, but
so
in
let me flow real
prophecies it
fast.
specifies.
So let me flow. So,
Go ahead.
So it's a fact that nowhere in the New Testament it said Jesus will come from the seed of Solomon. Not one place.
No, it just says David.
Abraham and David. And if I'm right about Luke chapter 3, verse 23, then he came from the seed of David and the seed of Abraham. If I'm right? So that would fit perfectly. Now, let's address First Chronicles chapter 2, because that was dismissed and it shouldn't have been. So if you read First Chronicles chapter 1, all the way down, every chapter, it's going to tell you that these are the sons of so-and-so. Just like Matthew chapter 1 said, this is the genealogy of Abraham. Well, chapter 2, it says that these are the sons of Israel. It goes all the way down past Jahar, past their son Attai, and goes all the way down. So this is the entire chapter. Look, chapter 3. It says that these are the sons of David, which were born to him in Hebron and first of month. So it goes all the way down. So it tells you when it says sons and it lists everybody, that's the sons. Nowhere does it say, and it changes from, again, this is called context, right? When it's something says, yo, if somebody said, yo, everything in the basket is yours, that's just what it is. So this says these are the sons of Israel. That means everybody listed is counted as the sons of Israel. In chapter 3, David, chapter 4, these are the sons of Judah. Every person, every male listed that says begot. And then from there, we got the sons of Reuben. So we got Israel, we got Reuben, we got all the Israelites. It tells you that these are the descendants. So we definitely read that Sheshan had daughters who he married to an Egyptian, and they continued in the genealogy of Israel.
So again,
there's no way around that one.
I'm still inclined to not agree with that.
No problem.
And I want to tell you why. Let me see something. Let me go to, maybe it would be 5. No. Here we go. First Chronicles chapter 4. The sons of Judah, Perez, Hezron, so on and so forth, right? And then it continues on and it goes down a lineage. Because even when you read First Chronicles chapter 1, watch this. First Chronicles 1, Adam, Seth, Enosh, Kenan, so on and so forth. The sons of Gomer, the sons of Javan. Now, the sons of Abraham, Isaac, and Ishmael, these are the generations. The firstborn of Ishmael, Nebaioth, then Kedar. The sons of Esau, Eliphaz, Reuel, Jush, Jalam, Korah, the sons of Eliphaz, Teman, so on and so forth, right? Yeah. Now, when I get all the way down to First Chronicles 1, excuse me. When I get all the way down to the end, it says, these are the dukes of Edom, excuse me,
right?
Which were also the descendants of Edom. Now,
right?
Why did I bring that out? Because this whole chapter is not about Edom. That was my point.
No.
Because when you start at the top, it starts off with Adam.
Yeah, but it doesn't.
Then it goes into Abraham and his descendants. Then it touches on Edom. So what I'm saying is it's going down. It goes down a lineage.
No.
And then
that's not true, because this is,
you're not gonna let me flow.
Okay, go ahead. Well, you cut it on me too.
I just had to put that out there because I'm like, I try to make sure.
But that's not true though, because here it says, and the sons of Gomer, and the sons of Javan, and the sons of Ham, and the sons, and then so listen. It's telling you the sons, and it's skipping from man to man. And then when it goes to begot, then those are all the people from the last son mentioned. So when you go, so now this is going the sons of Ham, the sons of Cush, the sons of Javan, the sons of Gomer, the sons of Esau, whatever. But when it stops at that son and goes begot, those are the people of that son's last name lineage. So when you go to chapter 2, that's Israel. When you go to chapter 3, that's Judah only. There's no other sons of mention in 2. There's no other sons outside of Israel. There's no other sons mentioned from 3, which it says Judah, and then 4 was Reuben. And we keep going, you'll see that they're all part of one man.
So what's his name? Shushan, not Shushan, Jara.
Yeah.
Jara's supposed to be in the lineage of Judah, correct?
Yeah.
No,
No, not Judah, Israel.
But that doesn't make sense because it was specifically under Judah.
No, it says these are the sons of Israel. So that's Jacob.
Okay, so Jacob,
Judah is chapter 3.
It then began to list his 4 sons, right?
Right.
So if we're
Which
saying,
is,
hold on, hear me out.
right.
If we're saying that this particular person, Jara, ended up in the lineage of Israel,
Oh, you're right.
Specifies.
Judah, you're right, Judah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, are we able to go to chapter 4? I'm driving right now, so I can't see it. So, are we able to go to chapter 4 and establish that he is in the lineage of Judah?
Chapter 4. We're here.
That's the lineage of Judah. I'm asking you.
Let's
so
read.
First Chronicles chapter 4 is the lineage of Judah.
Okay, right. So let's read. So it says the sons of Judah, Pharez, Hezron. So now you know there was 2 sons. There was Pharez and there was Zara. So, but this one starts at Pharez. There's no Zara here, the twin. So it says the sons of Judah, Pharez.
It never said that Judah had twins, but okay.
That's how it's told. But let me ask you this: is Zara also a son of Judah? Yeah, because that's in genealogy in Matthew. It says that, and they both were of the mother of Tamar. So that's right in Matthew. So he has 2. Okay, so but this don't mention. I don't see Zara here, so he's omitted for whatever reason. But this says the sons of Judah: Pharez, Hezron, Carmi, Hur, and Shobal. No Zara, and Rhea, the son of Shobal. So this goes from Shobal. So this is the lineage of Judah through Shobal. Okay, not Pharez, not Hezron, not Carmi, not Hur. So no, you won't see a tie that was the Egyptian son here because this is through Shobal. So this focus on Shobal.
What was I didn't hear the last part you said. You broke up. You said something about Shobal.
Yeah, this is the lineage of Shobal. So it says Rhea, the son of Shobal, he got so everything comes from. It shows Judah's sons, but it hones in on Shobal only. That's the focal point.
Okay. So my point will still remain, and my point will still stand. You can read all the way down, and if this was a son, that was something that would have been established. It said that he had no sons, he had a daughter.
Right.
He gave his daughter to his servant.
Yep.
And then it goes down the lineage of that particular servant. Yep. You don't read in the book of Genesis. You don't read it even in the book of Exodus. And when you're going through the lineage, right here is the only place that you see that it references what people will perceive, because I don't even believe that it's saying that, what people will perceive to, oh, look, this particular person was grafted into the lineage. So this is the only place that you can see that, which would clearly go against Torah. It would clearly go against what the law states as it pertains to genealogy and how genealogy is defined according to God's law. Which in this particular time, some people argue, I don't know what your stance is, but I know some people argue when you get to the New Testament, it doesn't matter about the law, whatever the case is. But if we're using this particular example in the Old Testament, in history, we know that the people were going by the Torah and the laws of God as it pertained to certain customs and certain things. So when we're talking about the actual lineage of an individual, the lineage had to come from a person's father. And so if this person is an actual Egyptian, I will not argue that he converted over to the practice of Judaism, but I'm not going to sit here and say his lineage was now adopted into the lineage of Judah, because again, you would literally, your literal DNA would have to be shifted. Now that he married this woman does not make him of the chosen seed line. You don't see that. That's actually physically, biologically impossible. So you can come to that conclusion, but I'm still going to stand on the fact that no, as you continue to read down with Jara, is giving you the sons of Jara. And I'm not going to argue that it's giving you the sons of Jara, but I'm also not going to sit here and say, and these are because you have the sons of Jara a few verses down where it talks about these are the sons of Israel, that they are in the exact same lineage, because now Jara is an Israelite by blood. He was able to convert, and now he's of the chosen seed. You don't see that anywhere in the Bible, so I won't agree with that.
So you are, I heard that before. So some people are fixated on this blood thing, and they're not really understanding how genealogy works in the Bible, Jewish custom. So this is why if you want to get real ancestry from genealogy, you don't start from the father, you start from the mother, because the fathers, there can be doubt. Matter of fact, look at this. Solomon has sex with, King David has sex with another man's wife. So the men, like Joseph, they're going to think this is Joseph's son because he's married to Mary and she's pregnant. That's how it's thought. Just like when Solomon had sex with my man's wife before my man died, if she was seen pregnant, the people around would assume this is the guy's baby. They wouldn't have fathomed this is King David's baby. So when it comes to men, there can be some doubt, some confusion. But when it comes to women, when you're tracing genealogy from women, there's ancestry from women, there's no doubt. That baby came from that woman. The father, there could be dispute, could be on Maury, whatever. There's never confusion ever on the mother. There's always historically confusion on the father. So if you want to sound, that's why the Bible's written like that. When it comes from men, they allow adoptions. But if it was from the mothers, none of this stuff would be happening. It'd be just impossible. It'd be no confusion. It'd be no, as opposed to son of David, it'd be none of that. We seen this baby come from this woman. So
okay, so this is where I disagree, because the actual. Oh, I'm sorry, you're not done? My bad.
Okay, right. So I was just saying that. So you hold that point. So because I want to read this real quick. So you could just, I will help you remember that point with the women and the father thing. But I want to get to this real quick.
Go ahead.
Because I believe this is missed. Because again, the language, and when you read the Strongs, because you mentioned something about overshadow, because I hear people say the angel, adultery, and I'm like, well, why do people pick and choose what Strongs they read? Because overshadowing, there's a Strongs number there. And there's no angel involved. So let me explain what that is. So first, I go to Luke 1, and I won't even read, because I think we both know the story of Elizabeth and Zacharias. So you're not a beginner, neither am I, so we ain't got to read every last verse. We could just sum it up with Zacharias was visited by an angel. The angel said, you guys, even though in spite of you guys not having kids because you're old age and she's barren, the Most High is going to make it a way where she's going to be able to conceive seed like Manoah's wife and like Sarah, right? So there you go. You got one of those barren women who are now able to conceive seed. So Zacharias did not understand the message. He doubted. The angel made him silent for a period of time. Okay, so when you go with that to the scripture says that the women were Elizabeth was perceived to be barren by the people. So this is a miracle. When somebody's old and when somebody's barren, the people around, when it's understood that you're barren, the people around know you cannot have kids. So that's why angel usually visit these women, because there's no other way to have kids unless an angel visits you. Once you're barren, you're done. So all three instances, the angel had to intervene with God's message. So the angel didn't have sex with Elizabeth to get her pregnant or to like help her be fertile. He didn't touch her. He just relates a message, and the Most High does the fertilizing of the eggs. You dig? So the angel relates the message. The Most High takes over. Same thing with Mary, and I'll read. So, so I read that stuff. So now, when you read the angel, Zacharias, and Elizabeth, it's important to keep in mind when they say how long things took place. So it says, so anyway, right after the angel spoke to Zacharias, it said right away he departed to his own house. That's verse 23. And then it says Elizabeth conceived. So that means obviously he went to have sex with her after the message. So everything is in the present tense. It's not futuristic. He told Zacharias the prophecy. Zacharias went home, and now Elizabeth is conceiving, and she hid herself 5 months. So these months are important, especially dealing with pregnancies. It's very important. Any woman will tell you that. Any mother will tell you that. Any father will tell you that. That's active in the home. They'll tell you that these months are important when a woman is pregnant. Okay, so as soon as the angel got done convincing Zacharias that this is the way it's supposed to be, he went home right away and Elizabeth conceived. This is not a future prophecy. This is to happen right now. Okay, so then right afterwards, Elizabeth was like, she was thankful. She said, the Lord dealt with me in days where he looked upon me and take away this reproach among men. So that's proof that the neighborhood knew she could not have kids. So she hid herself because if she's pregnant, then people, so that's what I'm trying to say, people, when he's behaving like the son of Joseph, there's an appointed time to do things. So she was not supposed to be seen pregnant before the people. She hid her pregnancy from the people. The miracle was not supposed to be seen and witnessed by the people. So she hid herself 5 months, saying, thus the Lord have dealt with me. Because again, if people know think about this. She hid herself, she hid her pregnancy, Elizabeth. So when she's walking around with a baby, nobody's gonna think it's hers because she can't have kids. But if they see her pregnant, then they know that is no doubt that's her kid. So this is why people hide themselves from the public, because they don't want it to be confirmed. So she said, the Lord took away this reproach of men from me. And in the 6 months, so now this is 1 month later after she conceived seed. 1 month later, the angel in the 6th month of Elizabeth's pregnancy was sent from God. So she down about the birth. So Elizabeth is clearly showing. So anybody see her knows she's going to have a kid, and they're going to know about John the Baptist. So this is why people say, well, how can people think Jesus is John the Baptist? That's because they don't even know about John the Baptist. They think Elizabeth is still without kids. So in the 6th month of Elizabeth's pregnancy, verse 27 says, the angel Gabriel, and this same angel never really tells his name. He never reveals it to anybody, especially when dealing with Manoah. That they begged for the angel name. He said, nah, you're going to basically get cursed if you keep trying to inquire. So this angel, Gabriel, was sent from Zacharias' home, or his experience, not his home, but his experience, to a virgin spouse to Joseph. Now, this virgin word is not like Alma. This is Pathanos. And in the Greek, this is always an actual virgin. Like, the hell? Phone talking to me? Cheap phone? God. Oh, my God. So anyway, Parthenos. This is always virgin. As, like, again, English and Greek are more similar than Latin and English, or Latin and Spanish. So this is an actual virgin that they're talking about in the entire New Testament. It says virgin. Okay, so the angel came to a virgin espoused to Joseph, promised to Joseph, and the virgin's name was Mary. And the angel came into her and said, hell. So this angel came, so 3 angels came to women that could not have kids, right? Because they were, God wanted to bless Sarah, God wanted to bless Noah's wife, and God wanted to bless Elizabeth, right? Because he found favor in them, some type of favor. Mary is the first person that the angel is coming to have a kid who can have kids. She's not known to be barren. So why would an angel come to a fertile woman to have kids? So it says, and the angel came into her and said, hell, thou art highly favored. So this is why the angel comes to her. It's because the Bible says, who could find a virtuous woman? And it said, like, basically nobody. So now the angel said, wow, I found one. I found a virtuous woman. So it says, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women. That's it. The Lord is with thee. That's Emmanuel. Thou art highly favored. The Lord is with you. That's Emmanuel. God is with you. So she's a sign. So it says, blessed art thou among women. And when she saw him, she was troubled, like most people are. And she didn't understand the message, just like she didn't understand Jesus' message when he said about my father's